You and I, we were meant to be.
Eingewinn it means, wouldn't it be funny if I wrote all my character information in German?
I kind of figured.
That was German?
You speak German?
I should have
No.
recognized more of those words.
No.
Jacob speaks Google Translate. That's what.
Yeah,
Jacob
I speak
speaks.
Google Translate.
I was gonna say,
None of that sounded like. It sounded like German, just not good German.
Yeah,
no, it
it's
sounded
not
like
good
a
German.
Russian person speaking German.
I don't
Okay,
get this.
so,
I'm not a person who knows German as a language.
I thought you were speaking
well,
Russian, and I was
figure
gonna
that
state
out.
Kilikami. Huh?
Oh wait, hang on.
I'm
Where's Steven?
he's in the other call still. Or at least the last time I checked, he was in the other
Yeah,
call
he is
still.
still in there. Why is he?
I don't know. I find it funny that he's.
There he is.
Sorry, I was getting drinky.
Okay.
We were talking about you.
That's nothing new.
Steven, why did you quit?
They were saying so many horrible things about you, Steve. It was awful. I tried to stop them.
I want you
Actually,
to
he's
know that I
garbage.
said the worst things and they were all true. I legitimately hate you.
Impressive.
None of this happened.
I don't care if you hate me, because I'd reciprocate it just as equal.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
I don't care about your booze. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Welcome to this chaos.
I do not care about booze.
I do
I
not.
care about boo.
I ain't care about no ghost. What part about that made me? No, I'm sorry. Words
It's
just don't work.
Looking at the stream real quick, I love how it's all vaguely humanoid races, and then there's me.
Yep, and then on the right next to you
Then-
is Kyle.
Yeah, so it goes from normal to the weird side.
It is very interesting.
Lovely gradient of fascinating.
Fascism.
Fashionism.
Das is
I guess
I
need
do
to
like that,
mute.
Leon is sandwiched between some of the most well-dressed individuals in the party.
That he
Really just
certainly is.
highlight the fact that he is in
really
rags.
highlight his poverty.
It's especially funny considering, like, just to the left of me are all the people who are in, like, actual adventuring gear, it looks like. But then there's just Leon, and he's there with his
Potato
absolute
sack.
garbage.
Good old Leon dressed in a potato sack, basically.
That
Hey,
lad, he doesn't do any
that's basically what I'm
crimes.
interested in.
I am poor.
Is poor. Love it.
I really like that one meme that says arson, you mean crime brulee.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's make sure I've got everything in order.
Probably not.
You're out of order. Like the McDonald's ice cream machine.
I'd
No,
like to request a
Teef's gonna
custom-
walk up to you and stamp you on the fucking head, send out of order, then you just fall asleep.
I think you're thinking of a meal.
I don't.
Wait,
I
what?
don't.
And you?
I honestly don't know whose everyone's character is. What everyone's character is.
Well,
Okay, I can do a
We'll take care of that momentarily.
how
The
what
introduction
happened
should
considering
take care of
this was
that.
an introductory
Listen.
session.
And
Well-
the
Yeah, this is
intros make that better. Okay.
Okay,
Also, let me
um,
know when we start streaming because
The stream has been active for a good few
Get
minutes now.
this.
about 10 minutes.
Most
also,
of those
Cameron,
minutes
I'm
were
going
just on
to-
the starting screen, which couldn't hear you guys, but still.
Now we are open to
I
the public.
started now.
What was that?
Oh shit.
Follow.
Here,
like
Cameron,
crap.
I'm going to send this image in the chat, and I'll go through who everyone is for you in my own special way while the stream is listening. So the dapperly dressed man at the very left with the bits of green, that's Chance, and he's playing an elegantly dressed murder man. Next to him is Jacob's character, who has like the scar on his face and the business formal suit, and
That's right.
he is the business dressed genocide man.
I am the military-industrial complex.
That's not even an exaggeration.
That really
Then-
isn't.
Then
Fun
next
part.
to him, with the red hair and the potato sack, is Steven's character, and Steven's character is, well, definitively he is homeless.
Definitively.
He's a wanderer, I'll have you know.
Alright. Next to him, the sexy elf boy. I don't know who that could possibly be.
No clue.
Moving on.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No clue.
Next to that is your character. You would know him as the armored, meaty, taking hits from Punchman's wooden stick man.
Also, that's
Alright.
Charmander. Charmander's great.
Next to you is Phoenix's character, and they have the like horns and the purple hair. And I actually don't know much about Phoenix's character, so I can't even make a funny joke about them. But judging by their appearance, just purple. Okay.
Tragic backstory of the character. Don't worry about it.
All right, and then next to Phoenix's character is
Anger incarnate.
Rage man.
Yes.
From the way
And-
every time he speaks, his eye lights up. Yeah, probably a little bit angry
And-
there.
and is played by our resident gaslighter.
Sounds
And
about right.
And then the spaceman with the orange badussi is Aiden's DM.
All right.
friend.
You know what? No, you are no longer in this picture. You're gone. You're gone. He has ceased to exist. He's gone. Don't gotta worry about him no more.
The first of the party has fallen, and it has not been by the sword. It has been
There we
by
go.
hubris.
His wit.
Flew too close.
will be your undoing.
Flew too close to the sun. Otherwise, as he would call it, the orange badussi.
Second to fall is soon to be.
All right.
You
Do we want to get this started, gentlemen?
wait up. Who's Lily Moon?
That's
_
that's
Ravenclaw?
Phoenix.
Oh, that's not me.
Other Phoenix.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
makes-
That is fair.
Can't believe we got a bird watching this.
Wait a second.
This is just great.
Ravenclaw? Wait, Ravenclaw? That sounds an awful lot like my character's name, because Wolfram. Fram meaning raven.
Of course it does.
Hey, Deep.
No.
That
Don't
was-
fucking ask.
That was a stretch so incredibly large that I'm afraid you might have ripped a muscle.
The Fram meaning raven is intentional, Jacob.
Hey, Deep, being a fucking nerd, can we start?
We're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's my point.
This is like the least formal stream you could possibly get.
And the other point, which I would like to mention, Phoenix,
I want to see.
Which
the
one are
other
you
thing I
talking
would
to?
like to
In chat or
mention
me?
is that I intentionally add a bit of a convention to my names. That is just something you have to deal with.
Wow,
All of
wait,
my
hold
characters.
on. So you telling me names can, like, mean other things? Holy shit.
Oh.
Oh my god, man.
Oh, my
Wow.
mind.
Oh,
Whoa, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
oh.
Yeah, Phoenix, I don't just smash my keyboard and decide to make it sound like a name. Fucking Zanirith head
Why
ass.
the fuck not?
guys have names.
Most excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. I think it's pronounced. Okay.
We have to address him as Punch Man in the campaign.
No, you can address him however you want. Punchman is just kind of the common name.
Bro, fucking Erd.
Okay.
Get over here.
So wait, if Punchman is his common name, what's his IUPAC name?
Shut up. You
I don't
fucking
even know what that
goddamn
means.
goblin.
Okay, at least I'm not the only one.
That was just for Jacob, because I know Jacob's the
you
only one
genuine-
who understands.
I'm gonna.
Damn
I'm-
bio major.
You listen here, you little elven twat. I'm gonna shove you into a locker.
I'm literally going to kick your teeth in.
You are getting the swirly of a lifetime.
Gotta catch me first. You and your weak hands.
I'm not talking to you there. Maybe if you didn't breathe in all that fiberglass, you'd have some brain power.
Wait, you got a brain?
Y'all
Nah, I got a
think?
Brian.
Y'all.
I'd like to take a quick moment and say thank you to everybody who's sitting here listening to this.
All 13 people, which is actually a surprising number for basically first stream.
I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
My friend, thank you.
As they
And-
say.
What do they say?
No.
That
My boy
he said it.
My tiefling.
Okay.
He seems to pay preference to me. I'm like,
Also,
shut
what's
up.
the stream lag looking like? Because I'm looking at the images, but I have it muted, so I'm not really sure what the stream lag is. Or the stream lag is like.
It feels like
probably-
a good 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's normal.
Oh well.
I just want to know how like far behind the chat is when I'm looking at it, so that like if I see something, it's not like from ages ago.
Yeah. Assume like anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds, honestly.
All right, that's good to know.
All right.
Anyway,
So
now my sillies are out.
All right. So let us finally begin this campaign that has been years in the making, gentlemen.
Let us.
I wish it wasn't you. Oh, fuck.
Yes,
Wait,
cabbage.
guys, I had something come up. I gotta go.
No!
Piss in your hand.
I gotta open tomorrow. I got like some shit to do.
I have to open my thoracic cavity and allow the rats to escape.
I have to inhale fiberglass tomorrow. I gotta go.
Why?
Steve, no!
Okay.
Time for me to mute. Have fun, guys.
Welcome, gentlemen and gentle ladies, to the world of Havenveil. A land that has had many particular moments of turbulence between gods, man, various extraplanar threats, and so on. Once a land of the gods, a land of war, a land of intrigue, a land of a whole lot of fuck shit. And this particular brand of shit currently focuses on 7 particular individuals. Firstly, we focus in on a particular female tiefling named Xanareth. Xanareth. Wait, hang on. I almost forgot to switch music. There we are.
I don't even know if you're playing music. I can't hear it.
Wait,
Yeah,
yell
I,
that.
Oh yeah, I need to
I need to-
unmute the guy.
I need to get Fred Boat in here.
I was gonna say, Steven?
I'm
Frederick
gonna add my own music to the
Robertson.
background.
Yeah, that much I
I'll be-
figured. I figured some people would have their own music.
I'll be bumping to K-pop while you guys are doing some fuck shit.
I will be practicing the playing of Green Sleeves.
What are you playing music on? Because I don't. Is it on the? Oh, Fred Boat. I see it.
Yeah. What was the new loop command? What'd they change it to?
Repeat?
Play Slack.
Cry.
Is it repeat?
Yes, it is repeat.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Alright. Xanareth.
Yes.
Moonlight illuminates your caravan cart as you bring some medical salves to the green dragonborn noble. His clothes, originally a bright white accented by golden fabric, are now but a stained brown and red with mud and blood. As you go to begin applying the salve to him, he pulls back his arm with a sort of disgusted look, until he looks back up at you, and you see him give a resigned sigh. You know, I'd much appreciate it if your little assistant there behind you would stop glaring her beady little eyes at me. And you turn around and see Alyssa, human woman you've been sharing a cart with for the last few days, glaring the nobleman down. She shifts to look at you with a bit of an eye roll, then back to the noble. Apologies, your majesty. I can't exactly say I'm too pleased to share a cramped cart with a sneering rich lizard who looks at the people treating his wounds as if they were mud that stains his rags. You dare to call my finery rags, you wench! And after a while of bickering back and forth, you hear the heavy footfalls of Draugr, the dwarven gentleman who's kind of the leader of this caravan. Eventually comes up to your cart. Alright. What's all the commotion back here going on? I understand we had to take in the Mr. Carryapt here on a bit of a short notice, but didn't think it would be all that much issue. What's going on in here? Xanareth, you're not doing anything to him, are you? I'd assume you're not.
Dispatching wounds. A little bit of tension with some of our fine folk here. It'll all be alright.
A little bit of tension. Yes, that's how I'd put it. This little fleshy one over here just constantly giving me glares and talking down to me as if I was some bit of dirt upon her own boots. You can't really say the same there. Acid spitting freak. I do not spit acid. I am not one of those. I'm not one of those black dragonborn freaks.
Enough, both of you.
Alright. I get it.
Go take a walk.
Fine. I'll take a walk. I wish he'd be the one to take a walk. I'm not exactly doing that with a stab wound in my chest now, am I? Could use a few more. Why, you little... Fine, you win that one. Alright. Alright.
I'll patch him up then. I'll be alright.
I thank you for the short notice here, Zan. I mean, medical emergencies aren't always gonna be, very well known before they happen, but... I'll add this to your pay once we get the heart still. How's that sound? Make up for the, inconvenience. Are you calling me an inconvenience? Shrug
I'm about to. Don't stop. Be polite to the people that are taking you in. I'll just send you on your merry way.
And he kind of meekly quiets down at that. As the bleeding has not exactly calmed down.
I'm working to try and get it to stop, but
you continue to patch him up, and eventually it does calm down a little bit.
I'll throw in a healing word and not even bothering to roll the dice for this. I'm just gonna mark off a spell slot.
Okay. And you say, like, the incantation, and his wound begins to close up with a sort of faint yellowish glow. And, like, you see him look a little surprised. Oh, a healer. What are you, some sort of cleric of sorts?
Far from it.
Oh. I would have expected someone of your bloodline to not be into such tame magics, per se.
Oh, I'm sorry. With this face, I'll be more, and I'll use minor illusion on my face to make it more demonic.
Never mind, I said anything.
I drop the illusion.
Alright. I suppose I've been a little bit harsh. My apologies. Being stabbed and having your belongings robbed of you does not exactly leave one in the best of moods.
Understandable, but good faith has brought you in. Good faith trusts you leave alive. Be nicer to the people that are helping you.
Of course. My apologies. You know what? Those thieves didn't get everything off of me. As a token of thanks. And he seems to, like, pull out a coin purse that he seems to have, tied around, like, under his robes. Here.
Going
and he
to
takes out a platinum.
Nope. No. Keep it.
Are you sure?
Yes. Use it to buy yourself some new robes. Those ones will not be as bright and golden as before.
At least you have some sense of awareness towards finery, unlike your compatriot. And he puts the platinum back in the coin purse and ties it back up. And at that point you begin to hear the footsteps of who you can assume to be Alicia again. Alright, so I'll admit, I was a bit of a prude. My apologies.
Don't worry.
Haven't had the best experience with rich folks, exactly. Oh,
Well, let's turn this around.
yes, I think we can all agree to get along a little bit better now that my wounds have been patched. I must apologize to you, Miss, what is your name exactly? Alicia. Alicia Tareth. Thank you for asking. And yours? I remember Draugr said your name was Cariat. Yes, Cariat Claus Etherol. Thank you for asking. Well, apologies for taking up extra space in your little caravan here. I understand it's not the most convenient, and, well, I do appreciate convenience, after all. But I suppose this is what we'll have to live with for a day or so. Heartstone was, what, not even a day out from this point. So, we shouldn't have to deal with each other for much longer. Again, my apologies for the inconvenience. Alright, well, I suppose with all that said and done, I think we can move on from all that. Xanareth. And she, like, looks to where you patched him up, and she notices that the stab wound has seemingly cleared up almost. How fast do Dragonborns heal? I mean, I've heard of, like...
magic.
Wait, since when did you know magic? How... Oh... Okay, how was I not made aware of this?
Always a good reason to keep your cards close to your chest.
You know what? That's fair. I suppose when you say it like that, I mean... Yeah, coming from Aegis Grot. Yeah, hiding the fact that you know magic, it's generally probably the best. So, good call on that one. I suppose.
We added a little bit of magic would help everybody get back in a good mood.
Yeah.
Just,
So wait.
try not to add any more stab wounds to anybody else.
I wasn't planning on getting any more. It was, quite the inconvenience. Not exactly something I'd wish to repeat.
If you're alright with sleeping in the same cot as for a night, then,
Well, I mean, it's only for like another night. Heartstone's should be just around the corner at this point, so yeah, I think we can just settle down for now. And like she peers her head out the back of the caravan cart, and you can see the moon clearly up in the center of the sky. It is probably at this point just about midnight. And you can feel like the heaviness on your eyes beginning to set in. Well, if I want this wound to heal any quicker, I suppose I should rest myself as well. Not be nearly so tense. But after all, that's what we're coming to Heartstone for. Just a little bit of relaxation. Are we not? And you see he, like, around, like, the same part from underneath his rags that he had his coin purse, you see him, like, take out a little flask. He begins to sip from it. And you can smell the alcohol, like, that's how pungent it is, almost.
I'm going to, hear my head at the back of the car and, sort of, like, sit on the back. Just watch the road for a little bit.
Okay. The forest that you've been traveling through has been very calm and serene. The forests surrounding gnomish halfling villages tend to be very well kept, very vibrant. And you occasionally see wildlife and animals that you're not quite so familiar with. Not quite sure if they're even necessarily native to the world almost. They seem sometimes otherworldly. See almost like hybrids of various animal traits. Occasionally you'll just see like the occasional little pulses of lights. Clearly are not torchlight or lanterns. It's a serene experience.
I'm actually going to cast Minor Illusion, give myself a human disguise.
Okay.
Just sit on the back of the cart for a while.
You can tell that both Cariat and Alicia are kind of like looking at you now, like these are not things that we knew you could do. Sort of stares.
I'll just say quietly again. It's good to keep cards close to your chest.
Suppose it is. Makes sense. All right, and with that, we shall move to the next particular individual. Oh wait, hang on. What's Fredboat playing now? Is it playing the right thing? Yes, it is. And now we come to Emil. There, Chance? Chance?
Yes, hello, I'm here.
Alright. A storm currently rages on outside. The rain falls heavily, and the crackle of lightning and thunder booming. The streets have been pretty much emptied out due to the current conditions of the torrent. A perfect night for tonight's particular occasion. You eventually round the street corner, duck into an alleyway, round a few extra corners, and you see your location for tonight's activities. Sour's Howl, an old and kind of infamous back alley pub, almost. The only reason this place stays in business at all are all the bribes the owner takes in from private dealings. Go up to the old oak door, realize it's locked before even having to check, and give 3 subsequent timed knocks. A slit about eye level in the door opens up, and you see 2 glowing red eyes. Emil, I presume? And you know this voice, and those eyes. It's the owner of the establishment, Webwinder Strahil. Someone you've made into a bit of a personal connection as of late. And in a sort of hushed tone he asks, "So, what outcome are we planning here exactly? Will it be like the last clientele? Shall I have the masks prepared?" And while you cannot see him, you can almost tell he has a sort of wicked grin plastered across his face. "So what shall it be? What are we in for tonight?"
I don't think I'll need the mask tonight.
Oh,
However, do have it just in case. It's on our clientele to be sure.
of course, of course. And the slit in the door shuts, and you hear several locks and deadbolts unlocking as the door just kind of creaks open. And as the door opens, you see no sign of Strahil in the room. Instead, at the other end of the room, by the bar, you see what appears to be a middle-aged man. Slick, black hair tossed to one side, as if to almost kind of cover up a bald spot, you can easily tell. Wearing a striped gray and black suit, brown leather gloves, and a cane by his side. And you can tell just by looking at it, the cane is clearly a weapon of some kind. And by his sides, however, are 2 larger men, both wearing sort of dark black suits and sunglasses and cloth masks over their faces. They both stand up, ready at attendance as the door opens. And you enter in. Where exactly are you sitting? Because there's the various tables set up in the middle of the floor. There's booths off to the sides, and then there's the bar stools where he is currently sitting. And it seems like he's waiting for you to make a move.
I moved to one of the far isolated booths in the corner.
Okay.
I just take a swift seat.
You see him finish his drink, place it back down on the counter, and begin to walk over to you. "I take it you're one of Dreyev's associates. What business does the former Stukov Empire have that could possibly be this important anymore? And he says this, he's kind of like twirling his cane, almost.
Silverheart, I presume.
What was that?
I said Silverheart, I presume.
No. Silverheart couldn't make it to this meeting, per se. He's been a relatively busy man. Hasn't had much chance to keep in contact lately, but whatever message you have for him, I'll be sure to relay it.
I sit silently for a moment, just making hard eye contact with him, and then I open my mouth and speak. I will only speak to Silverheart.
Well,
And I just go back to a composed silence.
well, that's unfortunate. Silverheart, to my understanding, is currently still in Amity, back in his little town of Heartstone. Like I said, I'll be sure to relay any possible information you could have for him. He's a busy man. I'm sure you can understand that.
All right. You'd better tell him this.
Okay.
He has a debt to settle with Stukov,
A debt.
and if he doesn't, some bad things will happen.
A debt. Bad things? Come now, be a bit more specific. Surely such a candid and empty threat won't make a man budge like that. Come on now, you're in the business. You
Real quick,
are an
I'm not
associate.
sure if you're aware, but there's a small echo going on.
That is
I don't know
on
from where.
Chance's end, unfortunately.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure of that.
Yeah, it is something that shall be fixed by next session, ideally. Lack of headphones.
Sorry to interrupt.
You're
Sorry.
good. You are one of Dreyev's former, or current associates, I should say. You should know that such a baseless threat such as that would hold no real edge.
I'm just a messenger. I was just instructed to relay the information to Silverheart himself. Otherwise, I was told that things would get out of hand. So if you could arrange a meeting for me with Silverheart, that would be, well, very helpful to say the least.
Oh, I think I could manage to set up a meeting with Silverheart. If you give me a good enough deal for me to arrange it. We don't work for free around here after all.
Impressive.
Is it money you're after? Or something else?
I know that your empire no longer holds any value, especially money. After all, we know what the Jaeger operation did to your establishments and to your old connections. So really, you'll have to show me something that I believe would be worth my time. For I don't possibly see anything that you could have to offer.
Emil stands up, like, chest to chest with this man, and he looks him dead in the eyes. What the Jaeger operation did or did not do to the Stukov Empire is not something for you to talk about. Now, you can either set this meeting up, or I can leave. And then, you will be the one in trouble here.
Oh,
Make the
I'll
choice.
be the one in trouble. And how exactly would I be in trouble? Please do tell. all I know is Mr. Stukov himself has disappeared. Last he was seen was just a few days after that Jaeger incident.
I lean in real close, like up to a whisper. I'm sure you've heard the rumors that Stukov has had an assassin in his employ recently.
An assassin.
I wouldn't want to get on his bad side now.
Ah, yes, I've heard about that infamous assassin. Nothing but fearmonger propaganda to help Stukov's image. We all have our little pets that we get to do this dirty work for us. But Stukov, he has nothing left.
Very well then. And Emil starts to turn to leave. And as he's turning, like back facing the guy, he readies his glove.
Okay.
Gentlemen, it would seem we could not come to an accord here, so I shall take my leave. And he holds out his hand.
Despite all the baseless threats, you are at least still a man, boy, of composure. And he reaches out, shakes your hand, and you hear the very silent click of your glove. But he doesn't seem to notice. He pulls his hand back. It is unfortunate we could not come to an agreement. Now, what exactly was your... what exactly was your name? And, like, he starts to gather up his things, and he kind of pauses for a brief moment. And you can see sweat beginning to run down his face. His skin turns almost pale. You can see him begin to almost shake uncontrollably as he loses grip of his cane and falls to the floor.
Your name? That doesn't really matter. What did matter was you making that appointment. Now, I told you bad things would happen. I'd best get that cough checked if I were you.
What?
And Emil turns to leave.
What the hell did you do? You're going to pay for this, asshole! And you see his two bodyguards, like, begin to, like reach into their pockets almost, and you can see, see them beginning to draw a weapon. How exactly do you react as you see Strahil suddenly on the other side of the room with your mask in hand, looking for the... What was that?
What did you say?
What did you say? What are you doing?
Oh, I was going to say, I give Strahil a little hand signal to just toss the mask over.
He throws
And
it to you?
to you? Yeah.
Alright. He tosses it your way, and you catch it perfectly?
And I fit it over my head. And then I give Strahil a little nod. And then I just stand there, sort of patiently waiting to see what happens.
You see the man beginning to, like, convulse on the floor, like, basically vomiting, almost. Don't just stand there, get him! And you see both the bodyguards, pull out, what you can see to be switchblades, and begin to charge at you. Now they're like an odd 20-ish feet away from you, but you have time to react. So what exactly are you doing?
I just ready my stance and I prepare for the first one to come at me, and like to disarm him.
Okay.
And sort of reverse his momentum.
All right. So the first one comes charging at you, and you can definitely tell they're not exactly like trained combatants or anything like that. Their form extremely sloppy and brutish, as the one just tries for a basic plunge into your chest with the knife. And roll me a sleight of hand check to try and disarm him as he's coming towards you. Oh yeah, that switchblade is immediately like swatted out of his hand, and you like kind of sidestep him, and like you basically slapped it up into the air. You catch the blade midair, and he like looks to his hands, looks back at you.
I look it over real quick. Small knife, and then I plunge it right back into his heart.
Oh. Make an attack roll for me.
Okay.
So he is at least a little bit prepared for you. His reflexes, you can tell, aren't fast, but he was at least prepared for you to come at him with the knife, and he like barely stops you from like plunging the knife into him. You're gonna have to do a little bit better than that. And he like begins to raise up his fist to like just kind of bash you down. Do you do anything?
So I'm like pushing the knife into him with one hand, and then is he trying to hold it back? Well, no, he only has one other hand, and he's raised the other one, right?
Yeah.
Can I drop the knife into my other hand and then just try and like plunge it further?
Yes. And make an attack roll for me again. Oh yeah, that hits, and you get him right in the jugular as he's just like steps back and like hits himself against the wall. Just and it does not take long before he stops moving, and you can see the other bodyguard still standing next to the man that you were talking with, almost like trying to help him up. But you can tell that the poison that has worked his way into this system is too far gone for him to be helped at this point. And then he's just kind of... Go on.
Is Strahil still in the room?
No. You look around, Strahil is gone.
Strahil is gone?
Yep. Strahil has a bit of a habit of just kind of disappearing. You don't know where, you don't know how, or why even, but he does not stick around in one spot for long.
So I have my gas mask on, right?
Yep.
I look towards the other one, the other bodyguard, and there's other people in this bar.
Nope, it is completely empty tonight.
It's now just him and the person who I've stabbed, and then I reach into my pocket and I pull out my poisoner's kit.
Okay.
And I grab like just a glass vial inside. It seems empty, and then I just kind of drop it on the ground and then turn to leave.
All right. And as you turn to leave, you hear a distinct sort of, and the room begins to fill. You can tell with some sort of gas, but it's very difficult to see with the naked eye. And you just, without turning around, you just kind of hear the man collapse to the floor. And you walk out, open the door, it's still pouring outside.
Well, that was a bit disappointing. I was not able to get the meeting with Silverheart, but at least I know now where he is.
And as you begin to walk out of the establishment, you close the door, you turn around, and you see leaning against the alley wall, the deep red skin, crown of horns, and bright red eyes, Webwinder Strahil with the widest ear-to-ear malicious grin you've ever seen on him. You are aware that's going to take me a good few days to clean up again, right? And
Don't worry about the mess this time. We have bigger things to attend to. Silverheart's refusal on payment is causing some problems for us. I need you to hurry fast to Hurston. I will meet you there.
Of course. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip. I have heard that there is an old associate. That's not a good way of putting it. A person of interest that your father and you might Oh, sorry. I wasn't supposed to know that farther bit, was I? My apologies. There are some things that I just tend to hear. Anyway, there is a particular person of interest that both you and your leader might want to look into, that is supposedly on his way there. To Heartstill. Well, I'll let you figure out what you want to do with him. There are many options that you have, exactly. But I hope your trip to Heartstill is a relaxing adventure, shall we say, my dear friend.
You know I don't take pride in my work, Webwinder.
Yes, I'm more than aware. It's just entertaining on my end, I suppose. Keeps things interesting around my neck of the woods. There's a reason I took up ownership of the Howl. But I suppose you're not exactly keen on this line of work. But hopefully this little acquaintance at Heartstill will help you with your predicament, or you could help your father. It's all up to you, my friend. Safe travels.
Safe travels. Speaking of, before you go, have you heard anything about the other matter? The private one between you and I?
Let's see. Have I heard anything in particular new? No, unfortunately. I have a way of getting these sorts of secrets, but that one's a very tight-lipped one, I'll tell you that. But if you can give me updates of whatever you find, I can promise to make what I can out of it, per se. How does that sound? Granted, this is the agreement that we have had, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page here.
Yes, you'll get what you want, Webwinder. Just make sure that you fulfill your end of the deal.
Oh, of course. I am many things, but I always fulfill my end of the bargain.
Now gone with you to Hearthstone. I will see you there.
I shall see you soon, my friend. And you blink for but a moment, and Strahil is gone. And now you are just standing out in the open rain.
Do I know the direction to Hearthstone?
You know Hearthstone to be in Amity, the small folk nation, and you are still in the capital of Aegisgrad. So it's going to be a few days' travel, most likely. But you know of plenty of connections of how to get there much faster.
Well, I suppose I'll start making my way to one of those connections.
Alright. And then you walk off into the night. A little bit disappointed, but with a lead of sorts. And now we move to Mr. Heinrich Jaeger. Let me move to the next chart. Nope, hang on. I think I screwed it up. Oh, never mind. There we go. Now let me just switch it. Alright. So. Heinrich. You open the door to your workshop and glance around the various shelves, tools, unfinished prototypes. You breathe in the acrid scent of gunpowder, oil, and metal, and heave a heavy sigh. Another night spent in the shop, another step closer to a breakthrough, you think? You walk in, shut the door behind you, flip the light switch, and unfurl the canvas paper you've been working on for the past few weeks, and look upon it with a sort of mild frustration. Many of the mechanisms aren't quite adding up, and every time you try to piece it together, put things into place, something goes wrong. Something fails, a switch breaks, a spring flies loose, or heaven forbid, something explodes again. Last time that happened, you had to clean up the workshop for easily a few days, as gunpowder was everywhere. The only sound that fills the room is the tapping of your pencil against the desk, with the rain beating down on the window. Minutes turn to hours as you look out the small window behind your desk, the heavy rain pouring down. The sound of rainfall hitting the metal roof of the building you would normally regard as a sort of calming noise. Background filler to accentuate your thoughts. Excuse me. But the additional sound becomes irritating, combined with your increasing frustration. You put the pencil down and lean back in your chair, staring up at the ceiling. Then you feel a sort of presence, a set of eyes watching you. You ignore it, hoping you're just imagining it in your frustration, your tired mind. You've been at this project for weeks, months actually at this point. You've gotten tired at this point, so you're just hoping it's a figment of your imagination. Feel it approaching for a moment, getting closer, and slowly feel a hand on your shoulder. You quickly turn around, and you see the familiar yet scarred face of your good old friend Gunter. And he sort of steps back for a moment, back towards your brother who's in the doorway. Havenveil, are you okay there? You look as though you were being stalked by a ghost, my friend. You're pale.
As soon as it registers that I'm seeing Gunter, I snap to attention. Nothing, sir. It's a long night have gotten to me. I've spent plenty of time in this workshop and this little shop.
Down now. No need to be that formal with me. If we're not on the job, you're not out on the grounds. And your friend here. And I brought a bottle of schnapps. Figured you could use a bit of a break as well as some company. Your brother here, Tobias, was worried sick about you. You've been in your workshop for weeks doing nothing. Apparently he told me he's had to force you to eat breakfast alone. Please don't tell me that's true. I know you get worked up and, well, consumed by your work, but surely you're not that bad. Right?
My friend, had this been something so minimal, I would have agreed with you. This is ridiculous. However, I'm working this not only just... I'm gesturing to the disassembled pile of scraps of what used to be a firearm. Fortunately, some individuals were able to recover this from Werner Industries. It's a semi-automatic design, I believe they call it.
Oh.
If I can just work with what they have, the use of pistol cartridges, perhaps I can make something.
Havenveil. And he pulls up a chair. Tobias pulls up one of the sort of small ladders that you have around the shop. My friend, get your head out of your creation and get into your body a glass of schnapps. Relax yourself. Take yourself out of work for just a moment. You're killing yourself with this. You're not going to get anywhere by barely sleeping and day in and day out working on this. These things happen naturally. And your brother kind of pipes up. That's what I've been trying to tell him. But he doesn't listen. He's a big brother. He's too consumed with trying to be the best, trying to impress father, and Okay, overstepping was that wrong. You're too stubborn for your own good, Havenveil. I think you can agree with that. Come on.
Stubbornness is what has given Aegis Gods the opportunity to survive. I am going to accept the whatever glass they're holding out of schnapps if they provided a glass.
Yeah, they have by now like begun to pour, and Gunter has been like out like had his hand outreach with a glass in hand.
Stubbornness is what allowed Aegis God to exist during the times of great tribulation. It is the trademark of humanity. So, I can say, Gunter, considering your usual enjoyment of schnapps, I'm surprised that there's even enough to share. And I'm going to take a sip.
You know what? That's good. I'll give you that one. Admittedly, this is my last bottle. You got me there. You know what? With you having said that, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you an opportunity to take a vacation. Now, you say that stubbornness is the trademark of humanity. And that is what allowed Aegis God to survive to the wonderful age that we are in now. And I shall give you that, but you cannot ignore the small little details. Admittedly, I am not nearly as well versed in history as this is what Tobias was telling me. Yes, brother, you're more than aware that the technology that came out of the sudden historical precedent that our country was in led to a lot of technological advancements. We can both agree on that. However, you also have to agree that so many of the things that we invented in a last-second ditch effort also blew up in our faces because we did not have time to properly care for the things that we were creating. By all means, we created them with scraps. And right now, and he looks over your shoulder to the pile of scraps that is on your workbench. Right now, you're not doing much better. We are not currently in as turbulent times as some people may think. Yes, the dwarves have been causing us issues. But you have to understand we are not at active war right now. Take some time to relax, brother.
How certain can we be that we will not be in war soon? We cannot expect Zavema to maintain the
Havenveil. You're working off of a lot of hypotheticals. And yes, it is good to try and think of all the possible scenarios. You can't just function off hypotheticals alone. We have to work with what is in front of us. And right now, we have time to take things as we must. Yes, we should work with some amount of expediency. Lazing around will do us no good. But there is a fine line between efficiency and working yourselves to death. And right now, and he kind of looks at you, you're looking a bit pale. Stop working yourself to death. Reminder, I am a general, Havenveil. I know the situations that we are currently in. I'm kept up to date on these things. These are things that I need to know. And as someone who knows these things, you have time to relax. Believe you me, war does not just happen like that. There are signs that these things are coming. And we have not reached that yet. Take a moment to relax. Now, let me talk to you about this little vacation I have set up for you. I've already taken care of all the menial shit. I've already taken care of your passage over there. I am sending you to Amity, to a small little vacation town called Heartsteel. Seeing as this is my last bottle of schnapps, Amity is well known for their schnapps. That is where I get my schnapps. So, because I am an extremely busy man right now, I am going to give you this opportunity in order, if you will, to go to Amity and get some schnapps for both yourself and for me. And once you are done with that, take your time, make sure that the mission is complete, make sure you have acquired a quality product, and then come back. Leave this work behind, and go focus on this task I have for you. How does that sound?
Okay. It's not as if I can simply ignore the orders of a superior officer. So I suppose that is the reason why you worded it in such a way.
There we are. I'm
If
glad
that is your command?
it is indeed. That is an order. I'm glad to see that you still have some amount of reason within that head. It is not just stubbornness and caffeine. And he takes out a sort of carton of cigarettes. Actually, he takes a sniff of the air. That's gunpowder. It's a bad idea to smoke in here, isn't it?
No, this is one of the only interior areas in which you cannot not smoke in Gunther.
Right.
I would have.
I can't.
Walked into this.
No,
This is
go
a
on.
fun factor. You've walked into the fun factory, like where that is not allowed.
And it's not exactly as if I can step outside as he looks out the window and it is pouring out right now. And I can't exactly step outside for a quick smoke. And he puts the carton back in his pocket. And you see like a sigh of relief come across Tobias. I did not even think that anyone would have had to tell you not to smoke in next to the storeroom. The room in this building with the most gunpowder in one location. Yes, that's on me. Admittedly, I have already had some schnapps before I came here. I merely wanted to loosen myself up a bit, as the day has been stressful. You have to understand, doing all of your drills while it is pouring rain out, lightning and thunder and everything, is far from ideal conditions. Now, we have to do that sometimes, conditioning and training and all that. However, I don't exactly like getting my boots being turned into puddles.
I am still surprised that you do them, Gunther. Most of under the Aegean Guard's doctrine, generals usually spend their time in the office. It is unlikely. It is uncommon for them to work in the field with their men.
Well, I'm much more of a hands-on type of commandant. I don't exactly like my men getting complacent even in times of peace. Well, I say peace. What with the recent issues going on at the border, I wouldn't exactly call it exactly peace.
Yeah, that is what I wish to alleviate, if I can do so.
We have already had plenty of advancements in our technical capabilities since our last major conflict. Just your invention of the current model of firearms alone have been a massive improvement since our last actual instance of combat. You have made more than enough progress. I understand you want to keep up with the potential threats, but progress enough has been made that for now we can slow down just a little bit, preserve the morale and health of our men. Just because you are not on the front lines does not mean that you do not suffer from burnout.
I can only imagine what the men out on the front lines experience.
Were you?
How long
You were
can we-
out on the front lines back in the day, weren't you?
Yeah, but it's been years, or at least too long.
That is fair.
The men that fight now, they fight a different war than what I entered into. And only we could think past preservation and think to a possibility of finally ending this conflict.
Of course. I understand. I want an end to all of this as well. Everyone here wants an end to this conflict, right, Tobias? Well, I don't... When people talk about the end to this conflict, there are many different things that come up, so it really all depends on what you mean by an end. What do you mean by an end, Heinrich? It's been a while since I've had to ask such a question.
Heinrich takes a moment to gather his thoughts, looking out into the rain and almost reflecting a bit on the times where he was in active service. An end to this conflict is when one side of this makes the decision to put down their pride and finally accept the possibility of an end to the conflict. It is a finality that we all wish for, and for some, it can come without blood. Others, well, there are those who would say there would be no end to this conflict until one of us doesn't exist.
Well,
I cannot say where I am in between those two polar opposites.
well,
Yes.
if it is about setting down one's pride, well, you know dwarves aren't going to do that.
It's easier to assault them at trench lines than to, well, actually get them to acknowledge that they lost it.
That, I suppose, is true. And he takes, like, the last drop of schnapps that is in his glass and kind of, like, downs it. Slams his glass down. Well, at least we managed to talk a little bit of sense into that head of yours, older brother. I am glad. I'm glad I didn't have to resort to getting mother and dad down here.
There would be no need for that, Tobias. I'm not exactly that foolish to deny orders directly from my commandant.
That is good to hear, my friend. Now, I shall be taking the last of these snaps for myself. And with that, I want you to get some rest. Put down the pencil, and, he says that, and you notice you still have your pencil in hand. You never put it down. Now, please, get some rest. For you, for your brother, and for my schnapps. Eh?
Jawohl.
Good man. And he takes the bottle, all the glasses, begins to walk out, and Tobias... Just make sure you relax, brother. 'Cause I know you're going to take some of your work with you. There's no way you're not. I know you too well. Just don't take too much.
It may assist me to bring my work with me. Who knows? Maybe a difference in perspective is what I need to complete this.
Maybe so. Just don't kill yourself while you're out there. It will disturb the rest of the people trying to relax. And he walks out and closes the door.
What of my peace if I die? Well, I suppose... Well, he was correct. I'm going to take out, from underneath the workbench, the suitcase in which I carry, just to carry any kind of prototype I'm working on. And I begin to place both the scraps of the clandestinely acquisitioned firearm, semi-automatic firearm, as well as the parts in which are working on my prototype, drafts, paper, and the like. And I close the suitcase up, lock it, and I see, once I've cleared off a small amount of the table, the small pamphlet that I was handed at one of those at one of the functions by some of the more ambitious politicians within the that have been rising in the Aegean Parliament. I take it a look at it again, and I slip it, and I place it. I open the suitcase, and I'm going to put it in a pocket.
All right.
My loyalty is unto the Kaiser, but perhaps with a different perspective, I will see exactly what your offer provides.
All right. And with that, we move to our next particular individual. Thorin. You there, buddy?
Yes.
All right. After a hard night's labor at your encampment, deep within the woods, posted just outside of what used to be a cult's encampment, moving lumber and stones, as well as the mental work of purifying the bonfires for the various burning rituals. Take a seat on a log bench next to a small, smoldering campfire. The scent of ash, charcoal, is just strong enough to mask the horrid stench of blood that stains the ground. You look up into the night sky, you see the full moon watching from above. Scratches on its surface, still clear as day. You wonder for a moment about its beauty, before you hear the heavy clinking of armor. And as you look up, you see the familiar sort of grayish-blue lion's mane of your camp's Leonin commander, Cara Dune, walking over to you, still wearing his hefty plate and his great axe by his side.
Thorin,
And he sits down on the log across from you.
how are you this fine day, my boy?
It's always a good day. And I kind of like hand him whatever. I'm sure I have a bottle of something, and I just hand it to him.
Okay.
Well, I guess you could consider it a good day when we get rid of... Can't even call them people anymore. They give themselves worthless devotion to a creature that they know could care less of them. Would sooner throw them to the winds and sacrifice them. And yet they worship them regardless. I never understand it, and I don't think I ever will. But that's our job, is to understand the things that we're fighting, so that others don't have to endure the madness of what's beyond our world. Isn't that right?
That's what the recruiters say, anyways.
Well, regardless.
His eyes sort of shift to the purification pyres, where the corpses are being thrown into the fire, priests and clerics praying and chanting around them. And he looks about. You can see one of the clerics get up from her prayer, a high elf, looking of decent age, judging by the subtle streaks of white going throughout her hair, as well as the sort of faint wrinkles around the corner of the eye. And she struts over to the both of you with a sort of stern look towards Cara Dune. I would hope you've debriefed him by now, correct? Or at least you've begun? And her eyes sort of narrow.
Of course, of course. Just waiting for you to finish with your prayers. I know. It's part of your job.
Well, thank you for being considerate then. So, let's get to the case. And she sits down in the same log as Cara Dune. So, Thorin, you're much more aware by now of the current extraterrestrial threats that have been popping up all over the place lately. The Watchers have been in a bit of a stir all over the place, and, well, you haven't had to see these sorts of awful things in... How many years was it? Couldn't have been that long ago. What, 5, 10 years ago? No.
It was...
Oh, you okay there, Cameron?
What's happening?
Your mic's a little bit funky. Isn't it lagged out a little bit?
Shit.
Alright, you seem to be good now.
Hold on. Cool. Hey. Yeah.
Alright. Well, doesn't matter. 15 years ago, to be exact. 15? I'm losing track of things. I didn't think that would happen. Well, I suppose let's just get to the case then. Leviticus, are you okay? Are you alright? The last battle took a bit of a toll on you, did it not? I'm fine. You better not be insinuating that I've lost my edge. No, of course not. I would never insinuate such a thing. It's just, well, you gotta admit you did not I'd very heavily advise you to watch your next words carefully. Right. No, you're right. My apologies. And you see him kind of like shift a little bit away from her on the log. Right, okay. Let's get down to this. Oh, your mic is not okay, sir.
Hold up. Give me a second.
Alright, well, take but a moment. So let's see. How many more? Alright, I'll get the next few music tracks queued up. Gotta love good old technical difficulties. Let me know when you're all good, Cameron.
Is this any better?
Sounds like it's better.
Cool.
Alright. Let's actually get down to your mission now. Now that we've finally finished up with this camp here, we can finally move on to a more proper investigation into the rest of the threats that have been going on around here. So, we're but, I want to say 10 miles off from a little vacation town, Hearthstone. I'm sure you've at least heard the name. Or maybe not. I don't know your particular vacationing habits. But regardless.
None.
So, we've gotten a few concerning words in from the more recent mayor of the town. He says there might be something worth investigating, as there have been people that have gone missing, and he was aware of the activity that's been going on in this area. Now, he's managed to keep it under wraps for the most part. It's a vacation town. We don't want people getting riled up when they're supposed to be relaxed. Doesn't tend to go over well. So, I want you to go down to Hearthstone. I want you to try and keep a low profile of your intent. You're to meet with the mayor and discuss things further. There are going to be a couple of paladins, as well as some watchers, posted up relatively close to the town. So, you can still wear all your armor and all that, just don't make it obvious who you're working for here. We gotta make sure that people feel safe. And it's not like they don't have typical armed guards around the place. They just a sort of air of relaxation around there, so. So, and she takes out a sort of stone with what appears to be a small, like, face inscribed on it. You have to take the sending stone. The moment you hear or find out of any possible threats, whether it be cultist activity or extraplanar threat, you are to use this stone to contact us. It'll be either Cara Dune or I that possess this stone, and then we will relay the signal to the paladins that are encamped close to the town. Do you understand me?
Yes. I've Thorn kind of rolls his eyes and like, as much as I don't agree with keeping the citizens in the dark, follow orders.
Yes. I, myself, would rather people be aware of these things, be educated. If we had people who were educated on what these creatures were, we wouldn't be having all these cultist activities. The only reason, well, not the only reason, but any time I've ever seen cultist activity, it always springs out from a desperate need of something, and they reach out to powers they don't understand. That's what got me started down this path in the first place. And you see Cara Dune kind of like put a hand on her shoulder.
It's alright. You don't have to divulge that sort of thing. We've already been through that story enough.
Yes, I don't exactly like recounting it, but I need to make sure I'm thorough on these things. Ultimately, these sorts of things are preventable. Yet, our orders are to be reactionary, rather than preventative. But I don't exactly have the status to question High Command yet.
High Command. You say that as if we're some sort of true military force.
Yes, I'm aware. But you understand I'm from a day and age when we were a true military force. When we were an organized group.
Well, many things have happened since your heyday.
Don't you dare say it like that again.
My apologies. Walking on eggshells with you.
I can hear you. You're right next to me.
Fine, whatever. Point is, we're not nearly as organized as we once were. You know that for a fact. And I know enough about our organization's past to know that as well. But we still have a code to follow. This organization wouldn't function well without the rules and regulations that we have in place.
Yes, that is true. If we just went off acting on our own, well, then we would lose the support of High Command. And a massive cut in resources is not what we need right now, especially when we are spread so thin across the globe. It's insane.
Yes, well.
And I apologize, Thorin, for being this formal with you. You've been through your fair share. The Arcana conflict alone was enough of a scar on you. You're more than experienced enough for this sort of task. So I apologize for my over-formalness.
Oh, think nothing of it. I just want some good rest after a day's work.
Of course. I think that's what we all aspire for, of sorts. Well, with
now,
that being said...
Question, were there...
Go on.
Yeah. Were there any, like, demons here, or was it just the cultists?
There were definitely some creatures ebbing on the edge of demonic, but it was less true demons and more corrupted creatures with demonic traits.
Yeah.
But still, more than enough reason to be concerned.
Yeah, like, nip it in the bud before demons do.
Exactly. Well, with that being said, let's all get our rest. By now, everything should be taken care of, and she looks back to the pyre, and you see one of the corpses begin to get up as all of the, like, priests that were praying around it begin to panic. Oh, almost? Oh my god. Alright, who didn't take care of the seals properly? I swear I'm going to rip you a new one before I rip this thing apart! And she begins to storm off, and you just see a bolt of, like, holy lightning almost strike the creature down before it can even stand up fully. And she begins to yell at all of the priests that were around that pyre.
Well, in all fairness, that reaction is entirely warranted.
Oh, yes.
The new priests are never gonna learn without her proper guidance.
So, I will say I would not want to be one of them now.
Luckily, we've progressed through our particular field to the point where we don't need to be. And she, like, snaps on a dime to look at him. As if to say, like, you know the things that you do. And he quiets down for a moment. Then, not to say we're perfect, of course. And then she looks back to the priests that are now just kind of like kneeling down in front of her.
No, of course not. But we know how to get away with it now.
Don't let her catch you saying that. Listen, she yells at me enough. I don't need her yelling at you as well, making you stressed.
Well, at least I'm being shipped out in here.
You're lucky.
Few days now, is it?
You'll likely be shipped
Seems
out tomorrow. Admittedly, you don't get too much time to rest, but we're in a bit of a heightened state at the moment. We can't exactly afford to lay down for a while. We need to keep on top of this ongoing issue, per se. Well,
Do hope that we can find the source of it and kill the damn things.
given how far along those cultists were to summoning something truly horrific, I'm almost terrified of what the actual source looks like, whether we may be too late. Well, no reason worrying about it. It only takes up time and energy that we could be using to stop things. Just keep that in mind while you're on the job. Though, to an extent, you're more experienced than I am in these sorts of things. I've been through my fair share of encounters, but the Arcana conflict is something else.
Well, I was a much different person, and my abilities at the time were a tad more developed.
Is that so? You don't really talk about those times much. I'm going to guess they weren't exactly the most pleasant, though, so it's not exactly as if I blame you.
It was a part of my life that has passed. I see little reason to dredge it up.
That is perfectly fair. Not everyone exactly enjoys the place that they came from, and strive for a better place to be, I suppose. This is one way of putting it. You and Leviticus over there, not so different in that regard. She's been through, well, hells and back. But now she's with us, and her expertise cannot go understated. As much as she's not a fan of... Yes, as much as she was not a fan of speaking of her age. You must admit, almost 700 years in elven wisdom does wonders. Though, don't tell her I said that. Or if you're going to tell her you said that... I
want you to lie.
Yes, that'd be appreciated. If you're going to tell her that, say it in a bit more of a subtle way. Subtlety isn't exactly my specialty, and he, like, pats his, like, great axe. But regardless, I'm going to finish tending to, well, paperwork. Not the most exciting part of the job, but it beats, well, near demonic creatures gnawing at your throat, I suppose. You get some rest.
Yes, indeed.
You have quite the job ahead of you, but you're at least lucky that you're going to the vacation town of Heartstone. If you can manage to catch a break, it's going to be a good one. Alright. Get some rest.
At least there's that.
Yes. And with that, he gets up and begins to walk over to the sort of larger like grayish-blue tent. That is basically like the commander's tent, essentially.
I'm just gonna go back to my tent, you know, like do regular maintenance on the armor and the weapon, and then yeah, go to bed. Get rest.
Alright. You spend at least an hour or so tending to all your various implements and armaments. And eventually, you finally have a moment to yourself before your next assignment. And next, we pan our scene to the one without a name. So, at this point, Tal, you here?
Yes.
Alright. At this point, you've been traveling on foot for quite a few days. Your feet ache, and your helmet grates against your skin, to the point of bleeding almost around the neck. You're breathing heavy, and you sort of stumble forward to your knees for a moment, and part of you wishes to just sleep under the cold, comforting moonlight. But only for a moment. You will yourself back up and focus your eyes on the road ahead. And you see sort of rustling from bushes ahead. A sort of low, bestial groaning noise. Then you feel that same ringing pain in your head. Pulls you forward almost. The bushes... Go on.
So the bushes are like rustling.
Yes.
On trail.
Yes.
Is there anything not nailed down near me?
There actually
Branches.
isn't much. It is a barren path, but you look, and probably like 100 or so feet from you, there seems to be a sign, but the sort of almost delirium that's set in from your like days back to back of travel, your vision has very heavily faded almost. You can't quite make out what it says.
In that case, I instead opt to growl at the bushes that are rustling.
Alright, and as you growl and groan at the bushes, you see this large mass of writhing flesh almost slink its way out from the bush. Several pig-like animal forms writhe within its mass, and they sort of begin to start tearing themselves apart from it, clawing and biting, and the sounds of flesh tearing, bones breaking, and reforming before four of these piggish creatures stand before the mutilated pile of flesh. They all stand on their hind legs and sniff the air and look away from you, drooling, as they begin to stumble off in the direction that you are walking.
Can I just kind of feel out if it's a fiend or not?
Yes, make a... Frankly, you don't even need to make a check for this, as you know that ringing headache that you always feel. It can't even be described as a headache, near migraine levels of pain whenever you come into contact with fiendish entities and creatures. And it feels clear as day as to what these things are, and they are not from this world and not from a good place.
I am going to begin shaking off my fatigue from walking as I start gaining speed towards these pigs, and I'm going to shout on my way over to them.
Alright, and let's get you over to combat then. Now let's swap scenes finally. Hope that is heavily zoomed out. Wait, let's actually split those guys up as they're supposed to be. And they all begin to turn around and look at you as you begin to gain on them. Roll initiative for me.
Will do. Oh wait. It is Switch it to public.
Oh yeah, good idea. Alright, add turn. And... let's see, you do indeed go first. Is there... 50 or 45-ish feet off from you.
I am fully sprinting towards them.
The amount of, like, dirt and mud that you kick up from the ground as you begin, like, sprinting full speed at them, it seems to almost unnerve them for a moment before they and, like, sneer and howl at you.
Alright. Well, that is my turn.
Alright. Alright. So they are going to sort of begin to surround you, almost. Let's see. And they are all going to begin clawing at you, starting with the top one. Let's see. Does a... I'm gonna guess a 13 does not hit you.
It does not.
Alright. Then comes the second one. Does a 16 hit you?
Yes, that is my armor class.
Alright. Oh, wait. I forgot to change the token that's on this page here, so I can't see the armor class. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Alright. Are you gonna do the reaction thing, or...?
Yep. I am going to be using Returned Blow.
Alright, roll to hit.
You should roll damage first, so I can add in.
That is fair. It did 3 damage.
Okay. Do you round up or down?
Round down.
Okay. So that is going to be 10 bludgeoning damage.
All right. I said... Oh, wait, is the... It says 8 bludgeoning damage on there. Is there something wrong?
Yeah, the Returned Blow is...
Oh, right, it does that. I forgot. I forgot about the feature that I made.
Yeah, when you make an attack this way, you gain bonus damage equal to damage reduced.
Alright. And you're... Like, as it strikes down on you, it barely even makes a dent against you as you sort of, like, take the momentum that it had against you, and then immediately, like, plunge your fist almost directly into its, like, soft, fleshy chest. And there's almost, like, a distinct lack of organs you can feel within its chest. It is mostly just a cavity of sludge.
Perfect.
And then the third one at the bottom is going to make a bite against you. Oh yeah, that doesn't hit. That's a 9. Alright, your turn.
Alright.
That will indeed hit. Same one?
I'm going... yes, the same one.
Alright. You take out fist.
Action surge.
Oh.
To punch it again.
Alright. You rip your fist out of its chest, and then like a solid swipe across its face. You can see it nearly takes off the jaw, and then you immediately take your hand back, backhand it with the same amount of strength. Not only does its jaw come flying off, but also most of its skull as it just collapses to the ground. The other ones, like, begin to back off, almost. Starting with the topmost one, if you want to make an attack of opportunity at all.
I would like to do that.
Alright, go ahead.
And I would like to make this a menacing attack as well.
Alright.
Alright, so have it make a saving... Assuming I hit. Have it make a saving throw.
It failed. Miserably.
Okay. And I believe I add,
Yeah, I think you add the D8 to the damage.
So that's going to be 16 damage.
Jesus. as it begins to, like, almost run away, in fear, almost, you reel back from the one that you had just got done beating to death, and then immediately, like, take your hand, grasp the back of its neck, and rip off a piece of its shoulder as it's trying to run away, and it collapses to the ground, and it's now, like, trying to crawl away from you. So, it is currently prone. And then the other one is going to back away as well, and spew a cloud of noxious gas onto you. There. And you can barely, like, the scent barely even registers, but your body feels it, and I need you to make a con save. Fucked it up by 1. So you are poisoned until the, oh no, wait, no. You do that at the beginning of your turn. So, next turn, well, I mean, actually, no, this would be back to your turn. So you are now poisoned, so disadvantage on attack rolls. However, the one that you just nearly beat to death is currently prone, so you would have advantage against it.
Okay. Right. I'll just... Oh wait,
It's still 23.
Yeah.
And as it's lying there on the ground, you take your fist and straight through its skull, out the back of its head. It is dead.
Can I pick up its corpse?
Yes, you can.
I'm picking up its corpse.
Okay. What are you doing with its corpse, may I ask?
Just holding.
Okay.
Just holding it.
Just
and
holding
I'll go move use the rest of my movement to get over here.
Okay. It is now the creature's turn, as it is now, like, stumbling backwards. And it is going to, out of desperation, make another bite and claw at you. So the bite hits, but the claw does not. So this would be a d6. 2 piercing damage. That actually does hit.
So I use returning. So as it tries to bite and claw at me, that's going to be 12 damage.
All right.
I hit the corpse of its friend and smash it over its head.
Okay, so as it goes to bite into you, you sort of, like, take your wrist back, with it still holding onto you, and, like, plunge your fist straight into its throat. And now, roll to hit with the other creature's corpse.
That was the 12.
Okay. Alright, well, it is now your turn. Okay, so that was... Alright, that was your reaction. Now it's your turn.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yup, that hits. How does it die?
Never mind. After slamming its friend over it, I then pick it up in a similar fashion and slam it the other direction. And it turns into goo on the other side of me.
Alrighty then. I mean, I knew that combat encounter wasn't gonna last long, but damn, I didn't expect it to be that short.
I'm full of anger.
I was expecting at least one miss, but, yeah, no. Oh, that...
I'm gonna just survey the area around.
Okay.
Especially the thing that these all detached from.
So the thing that they all detached from was basically just a, like, lump of flesh. Basically, it is nothing but a pile of rotted skin, muscle, and bone. But you smell the horrid, rancid stench that it gives off. And I realize the music screwed up. So let me take care of that. Is there anything you wish to do with said pile of flesh and bone?
I'm going to walk up and find a sizable bone that I can rip out.
There's a decently sizable bone that is easily like the length of your entire leg.
I'm going to take it out and just kind of try to focus my perception on it and see if it feels like a demonic force.
So, the bone itself actually doesn't feel any, like, amount of demonic energy. It almost feels natural, but it's clearly tainted. You have reason to suspect that mass of flesh was not how they started, but they gained it. And
with this knowledge, and the fact that it is not demonic, I am just going to swing it back into the pile like a mace.
And as you let go of the massive bone, you hear a groaning from one of what you thought to be the corpses as it begins to speak. And it sounds almost human for a moment. But it's mixed with a sort of abyssal tongue. It seems to be rambling about a feast, hungry, as it's like trying to claw its way back up the path that you were traveling.
I am going to slowly walk up to it, starve, and I'm going to stomp its lights out.
As its head is now but a stain on the floor.
And I'm going to double tap all the other ones as well.
You, like, stamp on the one's head and you see a brief twitch before its lights go out. And the other one did not appear to be alive in the slightest.
Nice. I'm gonna continue my travels.
Alright. And as you continue along down the path, you can see finally what the sign says as you get close enough to it. It says Hearthstone, your vacation destination, 3 miles ahead. Now, we shall move on from that. And now, go to Leon. Steven, you there?
Yes.
Alright. Leon, you stare over the stern of the ship as your village that raised you begins to disappear over the horizon. You can feel a slight melancholy. Oh, I forgot to switch the tunes now, I realize. Hold on. You are currently on a ship sailing away. This is still forest music. Let me swap
Seems
that out.
fitting.
Yeah, totally. I am a professional. There we are. Anyway. You feel a slight melancholy begin to wash over you. This task you've taken upon yourself, many people's lives depend on it. The village almost depends on you. You begin to wonder if you even have the capabilities to handle this. You're just one man after all. You kind of stir within your own mind for a minute before you begin to hear the light footsteps from behind you. And you see a man of dry, pale blue skin leans against the rail a couple feet next to you. And as you get a better look at him, you can tell he's a sea elf. The unmistakable blue hue of his skin, the bright yet faded green of his eyes, and the fins that decorate his forearms and lower legs. But his fins seem almost shriveled and malnourished, and his clothes are clearly well worn and ragged. He seems almost familiar, as he gives a soft smile. I wouldn't worry, my brother. You'll be seeing him again soon enough. Time flies by after all. Oh, did I not introduce myself? My apologies. I'm Captain Varys Hugh. I am the... Well, I'm the captain of this here small little vessel. I suppose
Then,
you've probably at least
with all
met
due
one of
respect, sir, shouldn't you be up there steering the ship?
Well, by all means that is my job, but some of my, we're all friends on this crew. We've known each other for many years, and many of us know each other's jobs. And one of us can't keep up, somebody else takes their place. We've gotten good with that over the... How many years have we been sailing at this point? 60? No, it can't be that long. Probably like 40 by now. We've been sailing on this ship. So I've got one of my buddies handling this. I just figured, well, you're our special passenger for this particular trip, so I figured I'd get to meet you. Your name was, what was it, Leon?
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you, Leon. So,
May I ask your name exactly?
Virus Huel. I think I said it, unless I didn't say it clear enough. That doesn't matter.
I'm quite hard of hearing, I'm sorry.
It's all fine. Especially with the sound of the waves and the creaking of the ship. I imagine you're not one of the seafaring type, are you?
No, in fact, I spent most of my life in the woods.
Well, I know that feeling all too well. In fact, funny thing, that village you're coming from there, I grew up there. That is my home as well. I spent many of my years building this ship from the wood of the village. And well, she served me well. I don't think I've had to replace a single plank on her. Wood around here is special. And he looks to the bow that's at your side. That bow. Made from the same wood, eh? Particularly sturdy. You'll pay... People, at least you would think, would pay a pretty penny, but nobody really seems to care, do they?
Well, to be fair, this bow was made specially from someone who I trust very deeply in that village.
That's good. You always want people that you can trust in your life. You want people that you can depend on, look out for as well. And, well, I suppose that's exactly what you're doing, aren't you? Looking out for people.
Yeah, I do what I can.
And that's honorable. I gotta give you that one. Not many people would take up this sort of journey you're on. Which makes me curious, then. What really inspired you to this sort of task? Most people would be content to sit within the village and just try to make their own living. Try and improve it while they're there. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone going out into the world to try and raise the village up. It's a new one.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say raise the village up. More stop it from sinking, if you may.
That's a good way to look at it. After all, well, admittedly there are skyships, so this analogy kind of falls apart, but you're not designing a boat to rise into the clouds, you're designing a boat to stay on the level waters. And the last thing you want it to do is sink. So, I suppose you got a point there.
Seems like you understand quite well.
Well, I made this ship with years of hard work, and helped maintain it with the help of a loyal crew. I wouldn't even call them crew. They're my friends. But, you know, the formal term is a crew. So, you know, that's what we call ourselves. But I get the idea of hard work. I think everyone in that village does. It's just a shame that, well, our hard work goes unnoticed a lot of the time by the world. But, I wonder, do you have a plan for what you're looking to do? You're going to Amity of all places. It's not exactly the first place I would have thought to go looking for money. Or resources.
I'm not necessarily looking for money. Money is not the issue. The issue would be very political.
Oh. Well, might I offer a word of advice?
Any advice is good advice.
If you're gonna be looking for a little bit more political assistance, don't dress in a potato sack. People don't really tend to take you seriously when you're, well, dressed in a potato sack. No offense. I'm aware that those are the clothes that you had when leaving, but you're gonna have to look to getting some better finery. And you look to him, and his clothes are also tattered and ragged. He's not much better.
Well, sir, I understand your concern, but it's kind of a pot calling the kettle black there, ain't it?
You know what? You got a point there. But here's the key difference: is I know the business that I'm in. People don't exactly look to sailors as the pinnacle of society and manners. You know, there's a reason that people say mouth of a sailor after all, and that's certainly true. So I at least know my audience. No offense, I am just joking. However, you are correct. I do need to get better clothes. I really have no excuse on that. I just haven't felt like it. I enjoy sailing the open seas, and, well, there's no one to judge out in the open waters except the ocean herself. And really, she's not judging you based on what you're wearing. She's judging you based on how well put together your ship and crew is. So, I
guess you could say that's all of life, really.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I suppose that's the world in general, though. Really, nobody's judging you. Nobody's looking at you. The world is, but nobody is. It's an interesting, paradigm, I think's the word. Dichotomy, dynamic, whatever fancy gibberish you want to spout. Who am I to get philosophical? I'm a sailor first. And my love is towards the sea and my friends. Doesn't get much better than that. At least in my opinion. To some people, being out in the open ocean is a dreaded nightmare. I understand why. I mean... And at this point, you've sailed far enough to where the land is slowly beginning to disappear. And you're kind of just surrounded by the endless blue. I can understand why people don't like this sight. Nothing around for miles and miles. Closest thing you got to companions are the people on the ship, and whatever might be below the ship. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's hungry. Or malicious. Or malicious and hungry. I've seen both.
That must have been quite the terror.
You don't know the half of it. Admittedly, we're not much of fighters. This ship isn't exactly a big tank of a vessel. It's a skimmer, more like. It's just large enough to fit a handful of crew, and it does its job. But we manage. So, we run away from problems more than we do face them. But, to some, that is the life of a sailor. Some people do it for the adventure and to get away from the menialness of land. Because you got to admit, at least I have to admit, it gets boring after a while out there, doesn't it? I don't know, what's your opinion on that? Do you prefer the open waves, or do you prefer your feet on solid ground?
Well, to be completely honest, with how I was raised, I'll be honest, being surrounded by nothing but water terrifies me to no end.
I don't blame you. Especially since, well, this village is surrounded by nothing but the coldest of waters. You fall into a lake, well, you better know how to swim, otherwise you're dying not too long after. Hypothermia, drowning, all that fine stuff, and even then you can still suffer consequences after. The water's gotta be terrifying around here.
Indeed is quite terrifying. I've kept both my feet on land for since I can remember, and now I'm off to save everything I know on a whim, pretty much. And this is one way I did not expect to go.
Well, life is really like the open ocean. You can really never predict it, and the ocean bends to no master and no will. Even the gods that say they're gods of the oceans very rarely actually command it. They can get a small portion of it to do what they want for a brief second. But the waves have their own will. And, well, life is much the same. You can't predict it, and even the fates refuse to tell anyone what they've got in store. So, all we have to do is ride out that wave and see what's on the other side of it. And, well, what it does to us. Does the wave just glance off of us, go around us, or does it smack us right in the face and get a nice, good taste of sea salt? So, what I say? Take what your path has in strides.
Well, they're definitely going to be quite a bit longer of a stride than what most are used to.
Well, you've taken up the life of risk and adventure, my friend. Most people in that village, to no fault of their own, I don't blame them, like to take the simple route and the simple life of what they have in front of them and what they can make of what's in front of them. And there's nothing wrong with taking the safe route, but not everyone likes safe. Some people like the adventure. And some people, the adventure is forced upon them. So, ultimately, you roll with it. Roll with the tides. And you at least seem to be taking it ever so well. I must admit, you have better sea legs than I thought you would.
I would say I'm handling it quite well. However, the loss of balance and all that is still getting to me quite a bit.
This little adventure of ours is going to be a couple of weeks' travel. Although, no, it'd probably be best for us to make a few stops along the way, wouldn't it? We tend to just go on as long of a cruise as we possibly can, but I suppose for someone like you, we'll make sure to have a few stops here and there, as to, mitigate your, well, seasickness. Probably for the best, I would say.
I believe I'll be fine. Stops are unneeded.
Like to get the adventure truly on the way, then. I can appreciate that. Well,
Stops would do nothing but just slow us down.
that's the attitude I like. No need for the unnecessaries. After all, that right there, taking the stops, that's the safe approach. We're in it for the danger and the adventure. Oh, well, I'll speak for myself at least. I won't speak for you. You're maybe not here for the danger, but the adventure at least. And I'm not going to fault you for that one. Well, if there's anything that you wish to make known, make it now before I get back to my, before I get back to the wheel. After all, I currently have Holly on captain's duty, and, well, she's not the biggest fan of it. It's really just her turn.
I do have one favor to ask.
What might that be, old friend?
with you being more experienced with the other lands and outside world, where do you think I should be truly going for political gain?
Alright, so Amity isn't a bad place to start by all means. But they're very bureaucratic, really. In terms of their politicians, they're very... they're not pleasant to deal with. Trying to make policies and deals with them is like wading through molasses. But it's not the worst place to start, especially if you can find at least a decent enough connection. After that, stay away from Golbara. You're not gonna get anything out of them. Out of the dragons. I wouldn't really recommend going to Aegisgrad. Humans, it's very hit or miss with humans. It's either they don't care about us, our sort, or they hate us for things that we haven't done to them. They're an odd bunch, really. But I suppose a short lifespan will do that to a living creature. Make them very spontaneous, spur-of-the-moment people. They don't tend to think things through for too long. But they don't really have the time to. Your best bet, I would say, is to go to Broomweld. After all, ourselves and dwarves get along pretty well. You're definitely gonna have to walk on eggshells with them, as dwarves are very careful with wording. Say the wrong thing, and, well, you may be walking out with a few bruises.
Well, with my frail body, it doesn't take much.
I wasn't gonna make a comment, but you are very skinny, my friend. Luckily, we have plenty of rations on board, so feel free to at least indulge yourself a little bit. But if we're gonna be on a long, several weeks journey, don't go too hard on it.
You don't have to worry about that. I can't eat much to begin with.
No?
It's just how I was raised.
Well, I suppose it
Had
makes sense
to
be
have
raised for a while.
spare for the next day, you know?
Yeah. I almost forgot what it's like living in that village, Snowsbane. I forgot how frugal you must be there. I mean, you see my fins? They're all shriveled and worn. That's why that's the way they are. Wasn't exactly allowed to keep up the proper nutrition needed in order to upkeep certain parts of my body, so as much as I am an elf of the oceans, I unfortunately don't think I'll ever properly swim like the rest of my kin. But, as you can see, I've made up for that plenty with this here beauty of a ship. Making up for what I lost, per se.
I hope I can do the same with this journey.
I'll tell you what, you look like a wise individual. You seem to at least have an idea of what you want, but have reason enough in your mind to ask for help where it's needed. I think you'll go a long way. I think you've got a good head on your shoulders. I think this mission will be seen through pretty well.
Well or not, it's gonna be sought through. It will happen. I have to make sure of it.
Well, just remember, there is no shame in coming back empty-handed. There really isn't. Because ultimately, well, this is a risk you're taking. Not all risks pan out, and I'm sure Snowsbane will be more than happy to welcome you back in, knowing that you at least tried. So, if things don't work out in the end, I wouldn't beat yourself up on it too much. And we live a long life. You have plenty of time. And also, not only that, if you run into initial setbacks, don't let that discourage you. Every journey, every mission, every risk will always have its setbacks. But where there are downs, there are also ups. Some people describe life as a mountain, almost. with deep valleys, gorges and pits, but also with the highest peaks that reach above the skies. So, don't let a few setbacks get you down if it does happen. But, like I said, you have a good head on your shoulders. Your first hurdle was getting on this ship in the first place. Saying goodbye to home for... well, the world knows how long.
Hopefully, when this voyage is done, I shall be able to step back on the ship with my head held high and tell you all the stories about everything that happened.
I hope to hear a tremendous amount of stories, as those that are, well-traveled tend to also pick up a fair few tales along the way, whether they're their own personal tales or things they've heard from others. By all means, you can tell tales of others' deeds. That's what most songs on the high seas tend to be. Tales of heroic deeds of others, rather than your own crew. Though, some people make their own sea shanties of sorts, of their own adventures. But I do hope to hear many a story. Alright. I should get back to the wheel at this point. You settled in nice and well. You hear me?
Understood.
We got along. Oh, come on.
I will do my best to not burden you and your crew.
Oh. While you're on this ship, you're a part of the crew. Anything that you need is no burden at all. You just make sure to let us know. He
Yes, sir.
begins to walk off at that point. You are left alone on the side of the ship, surrounded by nothing but the endless waves. And finally, we turn our attention to the last particular member of this party. Let me get the proper tunes in order. So Deep, just make sure you're, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Open back up my notes. Wolfram. In the middle of the
Yes.
night, you sneak through the empty halls of the academy and make your way over to the Grand Library. You see your old rune teacher, Professor Dunith Runeskull, standing at the door. It's been a good few years since you've last seen him, and he was already fairly tall for a dwarf as it was, standing at an impressive 5'6", and with a mighty and well-knotted black and gray beard, multiple scars covering his body, which you eventually found out weren't battle scars, but scars from many accidents he had in his early smithing days, and sunken-in eyes that he used to terrify students. However, now, as you lay your eyes upon him, you see he's grown even more, almost a foot taller, outclassing even most elves in height, and all still with the naturally stocky dwarven figure. And you question for a second whether he's actually a dwarf or really just a small giant before he spots you. There you are, lad. Quick, get in here. Can't exactly hide well for long. And as he opens up the door and gestures for you to enter, you quickly rush in as he ushers you into one of the side rooms, usually used for private study sessions, and shuts the door. I just hope that you know how much I'm risking bringing you in here. And he brings you...
I
and he gives
understand,
you,
Professor.
and he gives you quite a stern look. Pause, holds for a moment before he breaks composure and gives a hearty chuckle. Shut it! Who am I kidding? He ain't getting rid of me anytime soon. No, but I'm serious. You're in quite deep with this whole mystery I got going on.
Well, I guess the more dangerous it gets, the closer you are to the answers.
Well, let's hope you're close to the answers already. Because, well, with all due respect, I get what you're doing, but I don't want to be involved in this too long.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. It's been long enough. Where's that fish fool? For a small fog of mist appears in the center of the room, and it quickly turns into a ball of water when a familiar blue-skinned, green-haired sea elf appears and falls flat on his face onto the floor with a wet slap as water splatters on the ground, and Razik raises his hand. Here, sir! As he holds his hand up, a stack of papers appear in his hand with a small little burst of water, and the papers quickly dry as Grunskull takes them and hands them to you, Wolfram. I'll take those, you reckless idiot.
I'm gonna address Razik real quick. Well, Razik, if it isn't the great Leviathan of Solrim in the flesh.
Don't give me that. Okay, look, it was a cool nickname for all of, like, a month. And then it just got old. Like, people constantly calling you the Leviathan. Do you know how many people laughed at me for that nickname?
Well, I guess you should have, thought about it in your freshman year.
Oh, come on,
and
like
I'll take this stack of papers.
Oh, like you're exactly perfect. Like anyone's perfect in their freshman year. Whatever. Anyway, my favorite dropout. How's the murder mystery coming along?
Well, let's just say there are too many suspects to have narrowed down the list.
Grunskull kind of, like, gives a little bit of a grimace at that. Well, let's say we divvy these up and get to reading. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's split these up. It'll take us less time. I gotta say, I didn't exactly, keep these papers organized, because I did almost get caught. Don't tell me you took them straight from... You didn't take them from the Sylvain directory, did ya? I'm not gonna comment on that. I'm gonna beat your skull in for that one.
Professor Grunskull, if you'll fill me in, what exactly do I have in front of me?
Well, I don't know. Razik was the one here who got this whole meeting. Okay, so... I know a lot of people. I'm sure you know that by now, Wolfram. And those people, well, college students can be a little nosy, especially when they have access to magic so readily. And there was a lot of word going around about the Sylvain family, no thanks to you. Even after your expulsion, nobody chilled out with that whole talk. Like, it still has not died down.
I presume it's because I was expelled that it is so talked about.
Yeah, no kidding. The expulsion really did make it worse. The administration is still trying to take care of that and like, shut people up about it, but it's really not worth... Students don't listen to the administration. I think we both know that by now. And Grunskull goes, hey, I'll drink to that.
Well, they're students. The more you try to cover it up, the more they want to bring it back up.
I'll drink to that as well. Well, so Razik, what'd you bring us? Well, there was a word around the campus, especially, like, immediately after your expulsion. There was a lot of chit-chat about the Sylvain family. And, well, a lot of things were dredged up about them. The school immediately did shut down that whole conversation, but somebody pointed out where one of their directories are, where they keep a bunch of, paperwork, all their bureaucratic nonsense and all that, because, well, Sylvain family's, like, the second biggest power outside of the actual Grand Mage. But that's kind of a no-brainer. And, well, I kind of poked around a bit, and I eventually found out there was a secret passage that they never really plugged up and don't keep track of anymore. Yeah, honestly, your family... If I'm gonna be honest, it seems like your family's gotten so big, they really don't know how to keep track of their own shit anymore.
I would say perhaps that's what they want people to think.
You never know. But essentially, I Well, I'm gonna be honest. I basically grabbed whatever papers I could find in that directory. I really tried to look for all the sort of tucked away corners and cabinets and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very surprising the lack of security they had in there, honestly. It makes me feel like it was almost like an in-between place where they'd store stuff for only like a little bit and then move it to somewhere else, probably. Which, really
Razak?
stupid way of doing it. Like,
Razak,
who...
please tell me you were under disguise.
No comment.
If you weren't under disguise, I suggest you stay in hiding for at least a while.
Okay, look. I'm not that stupid, alright? I was in disguise. I'm joking.
Okay. That is
Probably a bad time to
relief.
joke, admittedly. But, doesn't matter. None of these things were labeled, like they didn't have any labeled filing cabinets or anything. I'm assuming they had some sort of like magical sorting system. Like somebody just knows where all this is off of like a rune page.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I really just went for the files that were all the way in the back. Because it's kind of a given if you're tucking stuff away in back corners, that's the stuff that you don't want people to see. So of course, that's where I went first.
Yeah.
Unless that's what they want you to think, and they, like, stored it right up front. Oh, that'd be a mindfuck, wouldn't it?
Well, the more you think about the intentions, the more you actually get muddied up in what you're trying to do.
You know what? Touche. Alright. Well, point is, I got no clue what most of this is. I just know it's a bunch of files and papers that your family had just lying around. I didn't know if it would actually yield anything. It's just something I heard, and I figured, well, maybe we could find something out of it. Find, like, the one weakest, like, spot in their security that I can take advantage of. After all, I hate rich folks, and your family seems like the worst of them.
Yeah, indeed. So I guess we should start reading. Professor, how long do we have before somebody interrupts this room?
Ideally, we'll have roughly an hour.
Somebody usually comes around, checks on all the rooms, but...
Yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of that if someone comes in. You just make sure to hide yourself away. Understood?
That is doable.
Alright. And you, like, sit down at the table. You spend easily a few hours scanning over business and financial documents, taking breaks to hide away occasionally as library staff come in to check on the room. And as Grunskull either shoos or scares them away. And eventually, Razak chimes up. Hey Wolfie. Did your family recently branch out to, party services?
To what?
Party services, because these documents right here are, I mean, they're fairly recent, like within the last few months, kind of recent, and they detail celebration materials, decorations, and various other goods going out to a city called Wellspriggans?
Wellspriggans? That's the capital of Amity. What Muradin's left beard not do your family have to do with them?
Well, if I was to surmise, I would say there are a lot of nefarious business dealings which my family is involved in, and party supplies is definitely not one of them. I would assume that this is some form of cover.
A real shit cover-up at that.
I mean, look, I don't think anyone's
no one's going
really...
to.
No,
No one's going to go asking around to a family like mine.
No, I suppose that's true. And who knows, your family likes to dip their fingers into whatever market they can get their hands on. So it makes sense enough. I suppose you could reason it.
And after, like, some sort of chin-scratching, Razak, you see a light bulb flash in his eyes. Oh, I think I know. The head nobles of Amity are throwing one of their annual lotus balls. My parents, they got an invite to go, but they weren't all that interested, because... I'm gonna be honest, Amity parties, especially, you know, rich folk parties, are so incredibly boring. Because it's nothing but people whispering to each other in the middle of the ballroom floor. So...
Well, I can't argue with that.
but they didn't want to go. But why would your family want to fund the Lotus Ball of all things? Like, I don't see a reason as to why they would. At least it seems way too out there.
Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that there's a lot of magic which Amity holds, which we don't exactly have access to.
Maybe. Alright, tell you what. I think I know where I can get some more detail. There are two big, I wouldn't say big for one of them, but government libraries of sorts that might have these sorts of details. One of them is in Wellspriggans, but I'd advise against that one. Security is much tighter, and who knows where your family has eyes or ears. The other one is a small vacation town, Heartstone. The library's smaller, but it's a good place to start. A fair bit of rich boys and nobles like that town that take a spa day, but they usually have business to do there. They have a small little library with all the documents they'd need, and I can't imagine your family's gonna bother paying attention to that little place.
Do you think the Society of Scholars would get me an access?
Oh, easily. I know a few people there, and if she's still working there, there is a nice old, was she halfling or a gnome? It's too long ago now. One of them small folk.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, she was part of them scholars. She'll be able to get you in, no problem.
Do you have a name?
Gods, what was her name? No. No, it wasn't the Burrock. Why would it be the Burrock? That's the guard chief. I think it was Marigold. Marigold Tracewood.
Marigold, what was it?
Tracewood. She's probably nearing the end of her life. No, gnomes. Fuck, how long do gnomes live? I've been holed up in this school for too long. Need to get back out there. Need to catch up with people. And if you want a good word with her, she's got a husband, Gervin Tracewood. Now, she's a nice old lady. There's no way that you could really upset her, but if you really want to get on her good side, talk to her husband. He's one of them wood carving types. I'm sure you could talk about the craft long enough to get a good word. Not like you need it. You're an upstanding young man well enough.
Well, I mean, I have learned from you, Professor. I'm sure there aren't many woodcarvers which can compete.
Ah, no. He's one of the better ones at his craft.
Then I guess I'd better be in my best form.
You'll be fine. They're all a nice bunch over there. Yep. As much as I was talking some gobsmack and Heartstone about being a place of rich kids, it's the people that work there and live there on a day-to-day are the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. Well, because it's a vacation town, they're trying to keep up an image. That and the politicians and people in charge of Amity, talking to them, wading through lard. The people of Amity, they're nice folk. Genuinely some of the most hospitable people you'll ever meet. The goblins are a bit weird, but they've got a good heart. Just don't mind the gunpowder.
The gunpowder?
Oh yeah. Goblins are crafty little sorts. They really love messing with things that go boom.
That is interesting. I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
Hey, if you can give them something interesting and shiny, or something that goes boom, you can definitely get on any goblin's good side. Maybe that's a bit of a reductive statement, but matters little. Point is, you got a good place to start.
Alright, that is appreciated. Anything else?
Well, next comes, well, actually, getting you there. And given how urgent your dealings are, it's probably best that you get over there as soon as possible. But Amity's a ways away. I don't exactly have any good traveling connections anymore. All the ones I did have retired. You know what? I think I have a favor I can call in for this.
Oh, you know someone at the portal office?
I do know someone at the portal office. Well, okay, not at the office. One of the guys that guards it. Because you know how the academy here will often give jobs to people for extra credit, especially if it's pertaining to their field. Well, I know a guy who's working there, guarding it on the off days that the portal room really isn't meant to be working. Because it's everyone's day off, but he's, you know, they still gotta have someone guarding a portal room of all places. I got a favor I can call in with him, and I can get you over to at least Amity Lickety Split. I can't guarantee Heartstone.
Well, that's fine. I think I can find my way around. I am good with a map.
Okay.
What I would say is, this friend of yours, do you know what kind of treats he likes?
Don't worry about treats or anything like that. I got it all handled, and besides, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he's that big a fan of you. Because, well, he always came in like second or third place to you. So he really did not end up liking you a whole lot. So really just kind of keep quiet, let me do the talking.
Well, if he wanted help, he could have asked.
Listen,
Anyway.
college students are stubborn, you know that.
That is true. Alright, that aside. Okay, so, this is out of character. So, are there ways which, it can be, like, that portals can be either traced or, like, they can tell when a portal has been used?
To your knowledge, yes, they do keep very close track on that. Yeah, they do keep a very close eye on that sort of thing.
Alright. That's just something I wanted to know, so I can keep that in mind. Alright. Alright, I appreciate the favor. Have we sifted through most of the paper?
Yeah, all the rest of this seems to just be, well, financial crap. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what half of this shit is. Like, I know what some of this is. Some of these seem like basic magic and alchemical ingredients. Which, I mean, your family did recently branch out into alchemy. Which... Great, they're branching out into another thing that they'll probably monopolize. Whoop-de-doo.
Alchemy. Remind me again. Is there any specific family which, usually governs over alchemy?
So, I know the Blythe family kind of, like, has a little bit of their toes dipped in it. But I think the... What was their name? The Velmira? The Velmira, yeah. The Velmira family. They're the ones that are in charge of a lot of botanical-related, production. And oftentimes that means they're the ones in charge of alchemy. Varani? I said Varani, right? Right, Varani. Varani, that's what they're called. How did I mess that one up? I honestly don't know. I would have thought you'd know. I'm a runesmith. Not a botanist. Well, we're not, but, well, we're both not perfect either. I'm tired.
So, with their alchemical dealings, have they dealt with the Varani family, or are they treading into that territory unsanctioned?
I think they're going into it unsanctioned, if I had to guess, honestly. At least I haven't heard any official dealings on that. Granted, I don't exactly pay attention to, you know, what your family does. I just kind of heard about the one facility that I raided through word of mouth. It's amazing what kind of stuff travels around here, as long as you just keep your head to the ground. Or ear to the ground. That's the saying. Ear to the ground.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
I mean, frankly, I don't blame you. You were... Well, I mean, you spent most of your time studying anyway, so... Doesn't really matter. Point is, let's head to the teleportation office. Ideally,
all right.
it should just be Rake there by
All
this
right.
hour.
As he's saying this, I'm going to start picking up the papers, and I don't know if either of them would notice, but I am actually organizing them as I'm picking them up, without even reading the papers, because I memorized where the papers were put down, and so I'm picking them up in order with that in mind.
Okay. All right. Well, there's no way we're sneaking around with this lug over here. Excuse me? No, I have definitely grown an inch or two. An inch? More like a foot? You're giant now. You grew proportionally, too. You barely fit through a doorway.
How exactly did that happen? Was that through magical means or a growth spurt?
Well, I tell you what. Unfortunately, in my classes, I have to teach the history of runes a specific way. And the history of runes ain't really quite right. They'll say that, well, Dim Illyria Old, gave dwarves runes. That ain't true at all. The giants gave us runes. You all just gave us other forms of magics that we made into our own style of runes. Runes are innately giant-based, and, well, when you dabble in runes long enough, for as long as I have, well over 100 years, you're gonna grow in size a little bit. So that's what it is. You know, you're the only runesmith, especially a dwarven runesmith, that this entire academy has. You can do whatever you want. Oh no, I can't. They will fire me. I'll just get somebody who doesn't know shit to take my place. And I don't want that. Look, I'll take the history lessons getting fucked. But I ain't having no amateurish little piece of snot teaching my craft wrong. I ain't having that. Because then we're gonna get to an age where people think they know how runes work. Then they don't end up working at all the way they should. And then they're gonna blame the teachers. Then they're gonna blame the dwarves. And frankly, I ain't looking to have that. So fuck it. I'll fuck up the history. I'll work my way to getting them to teach it right one of these days. One of these days. Yeah, with
Well,
any
I'll
luck.
I'll add that to the list of things I try to change.
You're an ambitious kid, I'll give you that. But we need ambition like yours in this day and age. All the rich nobles are getting complacent. We need someone like you. Really, we need your whole generation to finally strong on this all into what it should be. But that's gonna take more than your generation alone to do.
I look over to Razek. Well, there's enough troublemakers, I think, that we can do something at least.
I can definitely make things a little bit rickety. I can shake things up a bit. Granted, not me alone, but us ocean-dwelling elves, we don't tend to get complacent. We like to move around a lot, shake things up a bit. Fun fact, most of the changes that have been made in elven history, you can thank us for that. We didn't exactly make the legislation, but we got a lot of it to be changed. Because we're stubborn.
The Great Leviathan does make overwhelming strides.
I'm gonna beat you over the head one of these days. No violence in my class. He's not even in the school anymore! Shut it! We're still trying to hide here. Most of the library staff ain't checking these rooms anymore.
I give Professor Grunskill the look of, oh yeah, you're one to talk about not using violence. Mister, I threaten everybody to beat them the fuck up if they act out of order.
I scared them. I never follow up on it. And you know that. Actually, no. One time I had to follow up on that, but that's because the boy was about to blow up the whole classroom. Obviously, I'm gonna beat his head.
Well, that story's gonna have to wait, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be another day. Hopefully this family business of yours doesn't take too long. I want to get you back in my classroom. I still had things to teach you.
I am very much so looking forward to learning.
I mean, how much of that stuff did you actually retain? And the conversation goes on as you make your way out of the library and towards the teleportation office, which is its own sort of, like, secluded building, almost, in the center of the campus, effectively. And given that it is the middle of the night, as well as during, like, one of the off periods of school where most people aren't actively in classes anymore, and they're off doing something else. You're lucky that the, like, center campus is very barren, spare for, like, a few people that see Grunskull and then go back to minding their own business. And eventually you come to the sort of golden and purple accented, like, quartz doors of the teleportation office. And you see a particular, sort of like darker skinned, darker toned elf just kind of leaning up against the side of the door, reading through one of the textbooks that he has for, what seems to be various conjuration, techniques. Ah! Razak. Listen, man, I'm just about to finish my shift. What do you want? I want to go back to my dorm, go to bed. Oh. Wolfram. And he shuts the book with his one hand. Alright. You're clearly here for a favor. What is it?
I give him the disingenuine customer service smile.
Just spare it. Look. I don't know what you did to get kicked out. Frankly, I don't care. Just as long as you don't make me part of it. Well... about that. Christ, Razak. Alright. Fine. What is it? Well, we need to teleport Wolf from here. Let me stop you there. If I'm gonna do this for you, you're gonna have to owe me something back, because this is big. Because I'm gonna have to come up with a whole excuse as to why the yeah, I get it. We'll discuss this after. You know, normally when people would say that, I'd say, no, we're discussing it the fuck now. But we've traded favors enough. I'll trust you on that one. Thank you. We need to teleport Wolfram to Amity. As close to Hearthstone as we can get. So, you want me to send this nerd on a glorified vacation with the teleport tick? You're out of your mind. No. It's not that. It's not... Wolfram... And he... Razak kind of, like, leans over to you. How much can we actually tell him?
I would say not a lot. But you can offer him a favor from myself as well.
Okay, so I'll tell you this at least. This is genuinely more important than just a vacation. And Wolfram said that he'll also owe you a favor when he gets back. Will he be back? Will you be back?
I will most definitely be back.
Well, I know you're not a liar, so I'll take you on that one. Alright.
Appreciate it.
To Amity. That's like the farthest teleportation circle I can get. You know what, fine. If I'm getting owed 2 favors, especially from the both of you, fine, this should be good. And I can at least come up with an excuse. I did need to calibrate a lot of the teleportation machinery anyway, which does involve opening up a portal. So fine, this works. I'll just have to come up with a decent enough reason to why I opened it up to Amity of all places instead of just the other side of the campus grounds. And the massive doors just kind of open up on a whim, almost. And you step onto the floor of this... almost the entirety of the floor is one massive teleportation circle.
Impressive.
It's one massive teleportation circle.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly 100 feet in diameter and covered in thousands of arcane glyphs and runes. Oop. Shit, hang on, I lost my place in my notes. And covered in thousands of arcane glyphs and runes. A lot of them you don't even recognize. And the walls of this chamber go up roughly like 300 feet, you would estimate, covered in various colored crystals and arcane diagrams, seeming to depict the dozens of locations, before you realize it's an entire map made out of arcane formulas. And
I'm looking at this magic circle, and I'm doing my best to remember all of the random shapes, because I will most definitely be using Mind Sliver to bring about that memory and draw it out in my notebook after this is done.
Okay. I shall keep that noted. And you do have the keen mind feat, don't you?
Yeah.
Keen mind feat. And off to the side of the doorway, it seems to be this massive control panel almost, comprised of dozens of moving golden rings that freeze to a halt as Rake approaches. He scans the rings for a few minutes, and you look over his shoulder trying to decipher the runes yourself before Rake says, "Alright, this should be capable of teleporting you to a caravan stop pretty close to Hearthstone. It seems the town itself doesn't have a teleportation circle, but a lot of the major caravan stations seem to have them. So I can put you about, let's see," and he like shifts one of the rings slightly to the side, about a half a day's from the town.
All right, that sounds great.
Alright, get in, stand in the center.
I'm going to back in, and as I do, I'm going to say, you might have a pen pal in Amity. And then I lean back into the teleportation ray. I give him a bow. I will remember this.
Yeah, of course. And he begins to align the several dozen golden rings with audible clicks. And each ring clicks with an audible, like, thoof, thoof, thoof. And you hear an audible, like, sort of from the main circle. And Razek quickly, like, looks to Grudenskull, looks to Rake. Rake gives a sort of nod of approval. And he reaches his arm over to the, like, sort of center crystal sphere that's in the center of the rings. Alright, let's see. I think I got this all in order. Oh, hold on. One more thing. Huh? Yeah, what is it called? And Grudenskull takes one of the rings, shifts it maybe an inch to the point where you hear a... Huh. Well, you know, that's part of the calibration process. Thank you for catching that. That could have turned Wolfram into soup. And the circle begins to shift, and the runes begin to change until the runes stop and begin to glow. Alright, Wolfie boy. Give those old codgers you call a family hell. Yeah, go get 'em! Those in charge couldn't stop us before, and we're not gonna back down now are we? And he, like, gives Rake a sort of bump with his elbow. Yeah, whatever. Look, nobody likes your family. Everybody knows that. Give 'em hell.
I'll do my best.
And then the circle begins to glow with a blinding light as you can feel yourself become engulfed in the arcane energy. Your body and vision warps for a moment before the light dims and you find yourself in a small little room. A door in front of you opens up and you see a dwarven man. Somewhat shorter and thinner than your average dwarf, with a short and well-kept brown beard. I'm guessing you're looking for a caravan there, eh, lad?
Yes, I would be. To Hearthstone, if that is possible.
Yeah, well, that's where my caravan's headed. The name's Drogar Steelfoot. Nice to meet you, lad. And what's your name?
Greetings. I go by Wolfram.
Wolfram. And he kind of like
From
looks you up
Illyria.
and down. I figured you're from Illyria. Very few people dress like that around here, so makes enough sense. Alright, well, caravan's waiting. Other people are getting on. You'll be on cart, and he like looks back outside. You'll be on cart 23. Pretty sure that one's open. No one's in there. And it seems like you got a few bags on you.
I have the one bag on me. It's the haversack, and it is just. It is strapped to my waist. It is the most inconspicuous bag ever.
Right, I forgot about the haversack. Well, seems like you'll have cart 23 all to yourself. So,
Alright, I appreciate it.
make yourself comfortable. I'm gonna go.
And it's
take care
half
of
a day's
everything.
ride, right?
Yeah, half a day from here.
Alright, thank you.
Don't understand why they couldn't have just put the teleportation circle in the town itself, but whatever. I don't make the rules around here.
Maybe it's for a quick bit of pay, because the portals don't exactly cost anything to operate, but you can at least charge for the caravan ride.
Hey, you know what? Not gonna argue with that. Gives me more business. Didn't think of it like that. Alright. I'm gonna go take care of the other passengers. You get yourself situated.
Alright, thank you. I'm going to go sit in my cart, and immediately as I get in, I pull out all of my glassware to continue some random experiments.
Alright. You get yourself on the caravan, get yourself situated in all your little experiments. And within about half a day, the sun begins to rise, and you see just a little off in the distance, town of Hearthstone. And I think that is where we're going to leave it for today, as those intros did admittedly go on longer than I thought they would. Alright.
Yay.
That, I would say, was a good intro session. Didn't have
Man,
all the
I'm
interactions
liking-
I was hoping for with the party itself, but those intros definitely went on longer than I thought they would.
It also
Yeah.
gave a nice illustrative idea of all of the characters, I feel.
And
know
the
what?
state of the world.
That it did. That it did. Today's session was very successful, I'd say.
And it's the right way of doing an exposition.
Damn. Really just gonna get called out like that, Jacob?
I didn't say any names.
Come on, whenever you say exposition, we all know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, I could come back with a pithy comeback, but that implies that I have a pithy comeback. So I'm just going to act emotionally hurt, so that he looks like an asshole.
Alright, I'll be right back. I needed to pee for like a solid hour, and I've just been holding it, so I'll be back.
I had to pee as well, but I went during Steven's section, especially because my headphones extended to the bathroom. In terms of like the Bluetooth. Man, I'm enjoying everyone's characters. They're so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it is very fun.
I think Chance's character was my favorite.
Yeah, honestly, though,
Of the
yeah, that was super sick.
introductions, he got the like perfect bit of backstory and also introduction to like what he is willing to do.
Yeah.
Cause like mine was trespassing, his was literal murder.
Yeah. 3 times.
His was, he came in
3
there,
murders
yeah,
in
Purple
quick
homicide.
succession.
And the other thing is he had the bit of like you don't actually know who he is exactly at the start of the interaction, and then at the end you like get to paint the picture in of, oh, that's who this dude is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just want more Punch Man.
I mean,
I think you're biased there, buddy. But yes.
Listen. Yes, but also it is Punch Man. That is why.
it is
Yeah.
Punch Man.
Steve, are you saying that I'm not a good character?
No, I'm saying that you were a person and not a character.
No.
Are you
I'm saying
saying-
that you're squirting.
And like that, we're back.
Are we?
We never
like
left, only
that,
you did.
squirting.
Yeah. You're
I,
right.
Oh my God,
I
Fred
am.
Mode-
I am multiple people.
We really out here.
Code is way too loud. When I had the background noise going, it was fine, but the music, it's just so fucking loud. I stopped being able to hear my own thoughts. Anyway, I lowered it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, thoughts on the session?
I'm enjoying-
We just
good.
barely ended the session, and I'm already thinking, man, when can we do the next session?
Yeah, I am very hyped for
Right.
the next session.
My God.
Oh
that
my
was...
god, thank you so much, Aiden, for one. God, I'm so excited.
This
Man,
this
I
was
can't wait for
I-
That sounded
all of the
sarcastic.
lads to get together.
Also, Aiden, I love how you've done it so that all of the characters end up in Hearthstone for their own reasons.
Uh-huh.
And it's such a perfect way to get them all there.
Mhm.
And like I still don't know how you're going to have our characters meet, but I know you said you have a way.
Oh, yeah.
But the way you got us all into Hearthstone, very cool.
Oh yeah. I know what I did.
I'm
I've
imagining
been.
a demon.
What was that? What'd you say,
But
Kevin?
I'm imagining a demon attack.
So anyway, what my thought was is for Thorin, you stick out like a sore thumb to my character, and so I would immediately be like, "Yo, what's a planeswatcher doing here? This is kind of in Hearthstone, no less."
It's worth noting that Thorin really doesn't have anything on him that immediately would identify him as a planeswatcher. Like he's just wearing a bunch of armor. That doesn't really, like unless he told you or something revealed it to you, you wouldn't immediately know.
You can smell it.
I still
feel like
stick
Heinrich
out.
would
You
by
do
the
still
way.
stick
Can I
out.
s-
I'm a solid.
Can I
Heinrich-
smell the
I'm
planeswatcher magic in the air?
Heinrich would see the
I'm a solid
two
7-1.
elves, the two elves from Illyria of varying levels of wealth, Goliath boy, and then Xanareth walk by and he's like, well, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that.
I
This-
was,
know.
I was kind of hoping that in some way Wolfram would know that Leon was in Hearthstone, but I also think it would just be interesting of, yo, wait, you're my cousin. What the fuck? What are you doing here?
Supposed to be dead.
Are they cousins?
Yes.
Yeah. We're
Oh,
cousins,
weird.
And for Jacob's like information, just like so that everybody knows the dynamic, I do know Steven's character is alive. I don't know exactly what he's up to. I haven't been filled in on that. But I'm one of two people who at least know that he is alive. Everybody else thinks he's dead.
I just can't wait to kill demons.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get to that.
I'll wait
Yeah.
ahead
That's
of you.
Thorin's like. That's gonna be Thorin's like main through line to his entire campaign. Just like, man, where's some more demons to just murder?
Hey,
Not kill, not fight. It becomes homicide with how brutally Thorin kills them.
The fact that goblins are known for their use of
Boom.
gunpowder and explosives, Heinrich will be performing some industrial espionage, also known as theft.
I'm really glad I got to like bring out a lot of the world building in a very natural way.
Yeah.
Here's my notes on goblins, because I had a great time writing my notes, and this is what I wrote.
Okay.
Goblin, good side by giving them a boom boom Jaeger tie-in.
I really am. Thank you, Aiden, so much for letting me join this campaign.
No problem, man. Like this all worked
my
out very
God.
well.
I like your character. Of the characters, your character ranks in the top 5. There's 7 characters, so that's not saying anything. But I like, it's not bottom 2.
Who's the
I
bottom
think with
two?
how few characters that we have, I think with like the numbers on those lists, saying top 5 means I'm just number 5.
I think
Like,
he's
you could
talking. I think he's
say-
talking about in this party.
Yeah. Yeah, specifically out of the 7 characters.
Who's the bottom 2?
I don't want to say.
You're already this deep into the statement. Deep, carry on. Also, for some reason,
One of them is Wolfram.
Also, for some
I
reason,
was-
OBS stopped the stream and then picked it back up. So there's now 2 instances of this stream. But if I'm being honest, that's probably for the best because it disconnected basically as the post-session talk was happening. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fine. It divides it up perfectly.
Also, can I just say, Aiden,
Mhm.
our format, was 3 hours, or our session was 3 hours long. We are competing with Critical Role now.
You
Interesting.
heard that right, Matt Mercer. We're coming for you.
We know
Yeah.
your address. We are coming.
Now, the real question is, can Heinrich make a Bloodborne Boomhammer for Thor? That's the real
Okay.
question on everyone's mind.
Well, the question arises, are you going to give Heinrich the funding to make you a Bloodborne Boomhammer? 'Cause, he totally would.
Here,
Thorin
what I was
doesn't
thinking-
like money, okay?
what
He
I-
Well,
doesn't
that's a
like
shame,
money.
because Heinrich loves money.
what
Yeah,
I
tell
was
him it's
thinking
from the video game Bloodborne. That makes
was
sense.
that we could add like the glyph of warning onto a hammer which Heinrich makes, which just has a gun strapped to it, and so now it is glyph of warning, hammer, boom.
Christ.
Glyph of warning, a wrist pocket that has a gun on it.
I mean, we already talked about the idea of putting a glyph of warding on a bullet.
Yeah. I'm loving these ideas. Also, Aiden,
That
you just-
wouldn't work.
can you just
As an
spell check
object-
some of the names here? Because so I have taken up all of the names which I had. I'm gonna put them into my notes section.
Do you want the
just,
names for everybody's intro?
No, well, I only took notes on my section, but those are the names I have. Can you just like spell check them?
So let's see. Marigold. It's Tracewood, not Trisswood. Like traces and like trace with a pencil.
Okay, Tracewood. I don't. You said it, the name, and my head went to Triss Marigold from Witcher.
You know what? That's fair.
I'm
And,
not gonna lie,
It's
Aiden.
It's not Gerwin. It's Gurven. Gurven.
Gurven.
Yep. And Rake is Rhaik.
Okay.
Alright, guys,
I just
I'm
spelled
hopping
him-
off for the night.
All right. Good night, Cameron.
Night.
Did I spell Verani right?
Ver.
Ver. Okay. And so there we go. That's my abridged
Also,
notes.
Jaeger is Jeagr or Jeager.
Okay. I just did that one as a part of a joke, but yeah. I'll spell it correctly.
Yeah.
And it's Jae, right?
Jae.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Trip.
The moment he mentioned goblins like explosives, I'm like, hey, Jacob's character.
Yeah, basically.
Listen, there's a difference between what goblins like how goblins like explosions, and how the Aegeans like explosions. And that's namely, the goblins might actually have a point in which they are less fucked up with their like of explosions than the Aegeans.
Man, I'm so glad we just ran with the nickname Great Leviathan.
Did you like just come up with that, or was that something we established and I just forgot about?
No, I just came up with it on
Okay.
the spot. I was like, it would be really funny if, since he's a sea elf and he's actually still in the academy, if I just gave him an over-the-top nickname as like one of those, like, you know, when you're like a dumbass child and you call yourself something like super epic, but then the older you get, the more cringy it becomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining when I came up with it. I'm like, the Great Leviathan. It would be so cringy if you named yourself that. Oh my god. And so I went with it.
Dude, it was fucking brilliant. I love to roll with that kind of shit. Like that was
I
fun.
laughed. I certainly laughed.
Also, Kyle,
Yeah,
did you
I-
like your intro as like short and simple as it was?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The fucking
It tells you everything you need to know about Kyle's character.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
I need more solid foes.
Oh, don't worry, that will
Victim.
come. Ideally, next session.
I'm really just excited to have Punch Man interact with others
Yeah,
because
I am very
that's where the
excited.
character really shines.
I'm very excited to have Heinrich interact with the entirety of the party, especially considering one of them has a reason to want him dead.
Yeah, Emil.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Jaeger incident.
That little bit of world building we kind of came up with on the spot one day.
Mhm.
In all fairness, that's where most of this campaign's world building has
That is,
been.
Aiden, it's just every once in a while we're like, hey, wouldn't this be cool? And we invest more and more of those wouldn't this be cool moments into your campaign so that it becomes way more real than it was intended to be.
Yeah, basically.
I think I sent this a few days ago, but it really is just like, the more you add to it, the more real the world becomes.
Yeah. And again, like, I was, like, really worried about, like, all the random world-building tidbits I was shoving into dialogue. I was kind of worried it would come across as forced, but, like, I think I pulled it off pretty well.
I don't think anything came out as, like, actually forced, like, let's see, what did we talk about? Everything which, happened in my section, specific, because I was paying the most attention to my section, obviously. Everything in my section seemed like everything which, like, Wolfram would want to bring up at that moment in time, reading through the papers. So,
Yeah.
like, when we talked about, you know, the whole thing with the Varani family, that's, like, a bit of world, like, building, which I wouldn't just have, like, because we didn't talk about it, but you obviously came up with it, which ties into what I need to know to take down my family.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so things like that. And, I know for some other sections, like with, Chance's, backstory, like, thing, obviously there's a lot of info there, which was, like, exposition, but it played out into the action of the whole scene, and so it seemed like it would fit in well.
Yeah. I think...
It
Go on.
really was, like, Emil just let the other dude talk enough, where he started saying stuff which he didn't need to as a character, or, like, not as a character, sorry, as a person, but as a character it, like, seemed fitting with, like, who he was as a person. And so, like, that's a good way to get the exposition done.
Yeah, thank
like,
you.
having the classic oversharer.
Yeah, I think the one that I'm the most happy with in terms of intros, in terms of how it went, has to be Heinrich's. Because, one, I did a better German accent than I thought I was going to do. And also just, like, the genuine interactions between just three characters, like, I was loving that entire time.
Yeah. It also just, like, I felt like it was a pretty good impetus on Heinrich is a hardworking person and is certainly not exactly has the best mentality about things.
Yeah.
I like the little bit of, like, a reflection Heinrich had on his, like, military days, and then the answer he gave, which was, like, very vague.
Yeah, it was, like, as non-answer of an answer he could give.
That's
and
right.
I think
That was
that's great,
intentional.
because it lets you know that he really doesn't have a good answer yet.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a shit, man. I don't know.
And the fact that the way he played it out was one side has to, kind of, it also gives his mentality of, like, yes, there is a loser in a war. It's not a compromise. Somebody has to accept.
Someone's gotta give up. And someone's gotta give up and let it go. Because, I mean, like, the war itself is stupidly important to both Brunwald and Aegisgrad. In my opinion, more so to Aegisgrad. It's it's a point of honor for them. And so the concept of letting it go is very important.
Yeah, basically.
My favorite
that's
part
something
of the shut up. My favorite part of the Heinrich tidbit was the very, very small. As he was packing his shit, he's looked at the like little flyer and he's like, "I'm gonna take this with me."
What was the flyer?
Like
It was a
he described
small
it as
pamphlet from a group of ambitious politicians that have recently rose to power.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to that part because I missed that the first time around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a like a he's not certain about what it is, what's in there, but but who knows? He may look back at it at the end of this and make a decision.
That was a very like euphemistic way of saying, "Oh yeah, here's the extremist politically," and he picked up their pamphlet.
Just a little hint at what might happen if things are bad. Of the no good bad ending for Heinrich.
I actually think I'm gonna dip now because I gotta get up early.
Same. I do have to get up early as well. So I think we can end it here.
Yeah.
All right.
And
then-
are you gonna like have like a YouTube channel to save the videos?
Most likely, yes. I just need to actually do that.
You know, I definitely. This is a kind of a session which I would definitely rewatch if I wanted like information on any of the characters. You can just
Yeah.
rewatch this and get a feel for what each of the characters are. It was
Yeah,
very nice.
I think I'm actually gonna like rewatch this tomorrow probably and like type out stuff in the notes channel, just
This was-
you know, keep track.
I think this is a good format we can do for sessions moving forward.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I do particularly enjoy this, honestly, because this is a good way to sort of, you know, catalog everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and you said the whole idea of like, oh, this took longer than I thought. I think this is like the appropriate length to give each character, because like, I think you kind of need the 3 hours for 7 characters to get to know each character as a person, where it's just half an hour where it's nobody else except for that character and just the people around them, and see how they interact without any other players around.
Which is
Yeah.
fair. That is a good point.
And it shines the spotlight on people who are a bit less
Talkative.
outgoing in roleplay.
Yeah.
What was it, Dylan?
Did you see the messages I sent you earlier?
Yeah. I'm healing myself away from these heathens.
I was also.
I'm okay. Just saying.
I want to say, of the Steven characters so far, this character was the most interesting to actually listen to, because it didn't feel like it was just like that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He DM'd me and he's like, I fucking hate being a wise, respectable person.
You made a good character when you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Man, I hate the amount of effort I have to put into role-playing this character because they're intricate and interesting.
I can't
Yeah.
just play stupid man.
I'm not allowed to just roll my dice and call it a day. Maybe I'll cast Fireball on myself and see how that goes, and kill a bunch of kittens as well.
I keep forgetting about that incident, and then I remember it.
Well, thanks for the session, Aiden. Thanks for everyone who showed up.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you,
That's
stream.
been my TED talk.
Session 2 will be postponed until next year.
Yeah, I
I'm-
hope you enjoyed this, because you will not be seeing this until the end of the decade.
But seriously though, I think we should figure out a good time to do a next session, because I'm pretty sure, Aiden, you probably have just as much information ready for like the next part as you did for our intro.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have to come up with that much more in order to have another session ready, because they, like, hang on, how many pages of notes did we get through out of my whole day? We got through 10 of the 24 pages of notes I have.
Yeah, so you have more prepared than we got through. So yeah. Tomorrow definitely not. I get home at 10 tomorrow.
Admittedly, 7 of the pages are just dedicated to like specific like NPCs or locations in Hearthstone. But then there's, you know,
that's good,
7 solid pages of stuff happening.
Yeah, I would say for like the remainder of the week, you could probably, if you need to, take a few more notes, but I really don't think you do.
Yeah,
And then
because keep in mind, all the intros combined are 8 pages.
We need to find a time.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out sometime like next week, because I still have garbage that I need to do, because they keep giving me shit.
Do Wednesdays work for everybody?
Yes.
Do Wednesdays work for Chance? Was that one of his lab days?
Wednesday is the day that I have my lab at 5:30 till 8.
Okay. So you were the person who couldn't do 5.
Yeah, I
You're
was
the issue.
smelly
Die.
boy.
Okay. Well, I'm going to see if my inorganic chemistry lectures are recorded. If they are, I'm definitely not going to attend them, and then we can do Tuesday or Thursday sessions, because
That's a vibe.
Because inorganic chemistry, those lectures end at 8:50. So if I take the train, I get home at 10, and I'm really not trying to get home at 10. So if I
Straight
can
up
just
refreshing.
watch, yeah, I would much rather just watch the lectures on like Wednesday and Saturday and call it that, because like that's fine. So I'm gonna try to see if he records them. If he does, I'm not attending those lectures. Listen, man, we have office hours for a reason. If I have questions, I'll ask during office hours. I'm not attending those live lectures. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Unless I absolutely have to.
Seems fair to me.
Alright.
Alright, gentlemen.
Good one.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. And with that, the first session of War in Paradise comes to a close. I am quite happy with how this session all went about, and frankly, I look forward to more streams like this. I got no clue who I'm gonna raid. I'll figure out that kind of stuff another time. Like Twitch mods, raids, I'll figure that out later. With that, my fair audience, a good night.